Simpson measuring a coffin. One night in bed you're sleeping, next night there's a wave that you're keeping. So you're praying to win the lotto, not to hear voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 voices from the ghetto. Crying, Lord, crying, crying, voices from the ghetto. We are not a forgotten people. Yo. With dented pride they soldier on. Revolutions made politicians born. And often their tragic story brings a journalist glory. No wonder they view the world scorn. From since the day they born, some call them rebels without a cause. These social victims of unjust laws, but yet they christen the heroes, renegades, desperados, forever knocking on heaven's doors. Hear me? Steel band music shatters the silence, harmony to conquer the violence. Big men run when cops approach, fighting for scraps with the cockroach. Young Turks, they're tough protecting, almost every young girl expecting. So tomorrow next in a borrow, there'll be another voice from the ghetto. Crying, Lord, crying, crying, voices from the ghetto.
Shining through just for you. Star FM 98.3, 104.7 stereo.
Each and everyone, good morning, Comrade. Solidarity, love, faith and hope.
There you walk.
You're walking through the NDP storm when you're doing so.
Hold your head
Up high.
up high.
And don't be afraid of NDP darkness.
Be afraid of the dark.
You think it might last forever? At the end of the NDP storm, there'd be a golden sky metaphorically with the ULP.
The sweet silver song.
Oh, and the silver song of the lark, of the birds.
Walk on,
You ask for change, you get change, but it's for the worst.
walk on.
And everybody bawling, except a handful.
Through your dreams.
They're trying to shatter your dreams.
And blow.
But keep them, Keep your dreams going.
Walk on.
Dream to change the world for the better.
With hope
Walk on. Continue to walk on.
in your heart.
With fresh hope in your heart.
And your
And love. And faith and solidarity. You'll never walk alone. Labour is there with you. And the Comrade is there. My strength is renewed like that of an eagle. Oh yes, you'll never walk alone. Oi. When you walk
through a storm,
when you're walking through the NDP storm,
hold your head.
keep holding your head up high. Don't let them beat you down.
And don't be afraid
Don't be afraid of their evil, their wickedness and their darkness.
Adieu.
It ain't going to last. It will come to an end sooner rather than later. There'll be a golden sky when it comes to an end with Labour.
Oh
yes. Walk on.
To the wind.
Walk on through the NDP terrible storm, the wind and the rain.
Through your dreams, be toast.
Oh, sleep not to dream, but dream to change the world for the better, for yourself and your family.
Walk on.
They want to lull you to sleep with gimmicks. Keep your head on
And you'll never
and keep fresh hope in your heart, and faith and love and solidarity. You'll never walk alone.
You'll never walk alone. Ooh, walk on.
I want to begin this morning by drawing attention to a book. I had mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, I think. But I've read it and I've studied it carefully and reading over certain parts. It's a book called The Common Good Economy, A New Compass by Professor Mariana Mazzucato. Mazzucato, The Common Good Economy. And it was published. She's a well-renowned economist. And this was published earlier this year by Penguin Random House, publishers in the United Kingdom. And you read this book, you will see in part 1, you move from corrections to objectives as to why we need a common good economy, the wider good outside of economics, the narrow good in economics, rethinking the good in economics. Part 2 deals with the elements of the common good, an introduction of the common good compass, the purpose and direction, co-creation and participation by citizens, collective learning and knowledge sharing, access for all and reward sharing, transparency and accountability. And part 3, local and global flourishing. You know, I always talk to you about the post-colonial economy, which would be at once national, local, national, regional, and global. Well, in her analysis, the local and global flourishing, you have to reimagine physical places and importance of investing in public infrastructure like housing, health, and community facilities, and valuing culture and the arts and building people-centered places. Looking at global governance and the voice that you have in foreign affairs, alone and in combination with other like-minded countries. And there's a conclusion about governing for the common good. Even though you don't agree with all that Professor Mariana Mazzucato has written in this book, a lot of ideas for thought. And when you read it, I want you to go back in a practical sense to Comrade Ralph's book called The Time of Despair Beyond COVID. Beyond, you know that book? A Time of Despair, Beyond COVID, Volcanic Eruptions, Hurricane Elsa, and Global Turmoil. Fresh Hope for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This book was published in 2022, late 2022. And great relevance of the path which we have to follow, the strategic path. And I bring a number of books to you. You have to be reading, and you have to be studying. You can't lead unless you read and study, or you go brain dead. And as a citizen, you have to read. You got to read more than Facebook posts, You have to, a lot of things to read. And you have to pick those which are sensible and which are uplifting. So I bring to your attention something sensible and uplifting called the book, The Common Good Economy, A New Compass by Professor Mariana Mazzucato. Well, you know, following upon the Sunday up at Goss by the dam, when comrades came by, a lot of comrades came by there cooking, and they surprised me when I came back from town from the funeral for Cathy Young about nearly 3 o'clock with a birthday cook-up, a 80th birthday cook-up. And then that was followed by another surprise on Monday night by the mill. You know, so many people had to lead me in this and that direction to keep the surprise. But I want to thank all the comrades who organized those events, and I quite enjoyed them. And it was good for the camaraderie. Not everybody apparently knew about them, but enough knew, and it was good. And others called me and saw photographs and identified with the celebration of my 80th birthday. I want to thank them very much. Yesterday, we had the funeral of Lennox John at the Anglican Cathedral. I paid a tribute to this great man, so I don't want to repeat that. But I had to leave after 1:30 because I had an appointment at 3 o'clock before, where the British High Commissioner, His Excellency Mr. Simon Mustard, and his team, he's resident in Barbados, had an excellent meeting at my library at Goss, and discuss a number of very important regional and global matters and how they affect St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Talked about some local issues too. We had a good discussion on carrying forward the struggle from my standpoint of reparations for native genocide and the enslavement of African bodies. Next week, Thursday, the 27th, I remind everybody that we have Parliament. I haven't received any notice to the contrary that it's not on. We submitted, that is to say, Kisal, Carlos, James, and myself, we submitted the requisite number of questions. Each of us, 3 questions for oral answers and 4 questions each for written answers of ministers of the government. So that's 12 and 9, that's 21 questions in all. We're making full use of the rules, you know, in all the years I was in government. The NDP never submitted questions for written answers, you know. But there are certain, we'll put some for word of mouth answers in the Parliament, and some also they have to provide written answers. They're not always on time with the written answers, but we'd use our good sense as to where the pressure points we will bring to bear to make sure we get the answers. I'll give an indication of the nature of the questions a little later in the program. What I want to talk about first today, substantively, is Godwin Friday's visit as head of his delegation to Taiwan earlier this month. Came back on Sunday. And today is what? Wednesday. Yesterday, he had a press briefing as to what transpired. Let me say up front, the visit is full of pure hypocrisy, and I will deal with that. And the results which he reported are underwhelming. This visit, they thought they could have gone and fooled the Taiwanese. The Taiwanese are representatives of an ancient civilization which is 6,000 years old, you know. You can't trick them, you can't fool them, you can't mama guide them, you can't blackmail them. Same thing with the mainland Chinese government, you know. They also are a legitimate expression of state expression of the Chinese civilization. In the same way, the Republic of China and Taiwan is a legitimate political expression organized as a state of the Chinese civilization. And always remember, these ancient civilizations, there's some fellas who just hurry come up, don't got the knowledge and experience of these things, and they think they could they think they could hide their hypocritical past and mama guy people and trick people. No. And I will speak to the details of this underwhelming visit by Friday. And I'd explain all what it means to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and what it doesn't mean. But I want to give a backdrop because persons may well be saying, Ralph, this thing between mainland China, the People's Republic of China, on the one hand, and the Republic of China, Taiwan, on the other, how this come about? Well, the Chinese state has been in existence for thousands of years. But in 1911, after great turmoil in the country, the Republic of China was formally established, controlling China, mainland China, and the offshore islands, including Taiwan. But in the 1920s, the government, 20s into the 30s, of Chiang Kai-shek of the Republic of China on mainland China was defeated by the revolutionaries from the Chinese Communist Party headed by Mao Zedong. So in 1949, the People's Republic of China was established, headed by the Chinese Communist Party. The first leader being Mao Zedong. The current president now is President Xi. But Chiang Kai-shek and his faithful followers, upon being defeated, fled mainland China and went to Taiwan and occupied Taiwan and established a government there. And that government was called the Republic of China because they had the belief that their government on that island and the surrounding islands represent the whole of China. Well, time proved that not to have been something which made a lot of practical sense. So you have ending up the People's Republic of China, which claiming Taiwan as being part of it, but on Taiwan there's for all practical purposes an independent government called the Republic of China Taiwan, a country. And mainland China says there's only one China policy. There are not two Chinas. There's not one called People's Republic of China and the Republic of China, Taiwan. So they say that Taiwan is a province of their country and they will take it back, even by force if necessary. Now, for many, many years, after the United Nations was founded, the Republic of China had the seat on the Security Council. Republic of China, which now Republic of China, Taiwan. But in the from the early 1970s, with President Nixon and the Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, well, first his National Security Advisor Henry Kissinger, and then Secretary of State. He became Secretary of State in the U.S. They established relations with mainland China and broke formal diplomatic ties with Taiwan. And mainland China got the seat on the Security Council and at the United Nations, and Taiwan was out. The Republic of China was out. So the Republic of China has acts, and it is an independent country, but they can't say that they're independent in the face of China, because China would threaten them all the time, mainland China. The Americans have security guarantees for Taiwan in their law. But matters are very complicated in the real world. What has been the position of the Unity Labour Party and the position of Ralph is there's not a one China policy, there's a one Chinese civilization. And like all civilizations, you can have different political expressions organized as the state. So we came and we met relations established between St. Vincent and Grenadines and Taiwan from 1981. Milton Cato did that. It's 45 years now. Milton Cato Labour Party. Then subsequently, his son Mitchell with the NDP kept those relations going for all the years the NDP in power, and Eustace for the 5 months he was Prime Minister. Then came 2017. The NDP say they now support one China policy, and they're going, if they get back in government, they're going to break relations with Taiwan and establish relations with the People's Republic of China, mainland China. So that is the first time you have a major foreign policy difference. And there are some people for the NDP say, no, they never said that. Y'all mustn't lie. The record is there. And Friday himself endorsed that position that they will break, that he says that the NDP supports one China policy and that one China is mainland China. If you check it from 2017 onwards, after the NDP, 2017 right up to and including the 2025 November elections, they're saying that they will break relations with, the NDP said they will break relations with Taiwan and establish with mainland China. In fact, entities in China, including some of those who deal with citizenship by investment, they helped to fund the NDP in the last elections. That's one of the reasons why they were washed with plenty money. And they can't deny it. Or if they deny and it would ring hollow. In fact, out of the mainland Chinese embassy in Barbados, you had persons who were coordinated with the NDP and their advisors about their campaign. But come the period 2026, you begin to hear noises inside of the NDP. Well, even before that, one or two persons were saying they didn't agree with it. Bramble one time in opposition said, you don't know where people get this thing from. God, NDP never say they're going to break relations. Bramble just, either you're ignorant or you're lying. And people quickly put him right. Leacock at least didn't lie about what they had said. Leacock simply said that he thinks that they made an error. But the party position is what the party position is. In other words, you go along with the party position, though you didn't necessarily agree with it. Meanwhile, the ULP maintained their principal relations, diplomatic relations with the people, with the Republic of China and Taiwan. But we never cuss, we never quarrel with mainland China, and we work with their government in the Caribbean Development Bank, in the World Bank, in the IMF, at the United Nations, in CELAC, the Community of States of Latin America and the Caribbean, when we held the pro tempore presidency, and so on and so forth. We worked in the group of 77 countries because our position was very principled. All we wanted was peace across the Taiwan Straits. And we said that the difference between the Taiwanese and between the Republic of China and Taiwan and mainland China, that a civilization which is over 6,000 years old, their division from 1949, they will sort out their problems because the period 1949 to the current period is essentially a short period in the history of the Chinese civilization. And I said they will sort out their problems without any help from any of us. All we want to see is peace across the Taiwan Straits. And I want today to re-emphasize that peace. I brought the hat here from the Taiwanese Navy to reaffirm the question of peace across the Taiwan Straits. So, I'm giving you China-Taiwan, the History 101. There's a lot more details. Japanese involved there, the Americans at colonial Japan during the Second World War. In fact, even from the First World War, Second World War, involving with the Americans and others. I just give the broad story to address our circumstance, where I was talking about the hypocrisy of Friday and the underwhelming nature of his visit. And if you think he could fool the Taiwanese, you know, he think a man from Beckway could fool the Taiwanese? Eh? No. For those who still say, including people on who have now been incorporated as the state media, like Hot 97 with Luke Bowen to cool them, who are saying that, wherever this was said, well, they must have amnesia. Well, this was said by the NDP that they will break relations with Taiwan. Eustace said it. There was an announcement. They had put it in their policy statements. And in 2018, late 2018, Friday went to mainland China. He visited mainland China as leader of the NDP and leader of the opposition to cement relations with mainland China, between NDP and mainland China. He didn't meet a lot of high-up people because I don't know if that had taken him by surprise. They met some lower-level people. Okay. Not top of the line. No. If you want to go, you can go online and find an article in the Searchlight newspaper of the 2nd of August, 2019, The headline, the story accurately reported that Friday said that he still supported the one China policy because they asked him, how is it that you had attended the parliament on the 16th of July 2019 and you had given an address in parliament? They were invited to say something. I spoke and he spoke as leader of the opposition at the time. When President of Taiwan, President Tsai Ing-wen, when she visited St. Vincent, we had to address Parliament. And he said at the press conference after, the fact that he was there and he was respectful doesn't mean that they have changed their one China policy. One China meaning abandoning Taiwan and supporting mainland China. That's a matter of record. It's there. Yeah. There are other occasions. I can't spend the whole program giving every instance, but I give you sufficient chapter and verse. Yeah. Now, we notice that since the elections, they have shifted. They reject the one China policy and support the further development of SVG-Taiwan relations. That was reported in the St. Vincent Times, Ernesto online paper, Ernesto Cook's online paper on August the 18th this year. He spoke from his reportage from Taiwan. And Friday said then, more than friendship, it's a partnership. That's what he said. Well, before that, before Eustace had, with the NDP, had broken the relations, said they'll break relations with Taiwan. Eustace used to say the relations between St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Taiwan is more than friendship. It's like family. Well, he clearly mash up the family caboose. Yes. Friday, don't call it family. He call it partnership. All right? But the question is this. Are they only saying this to get past the funding of the hospital? Because the hospital is being built with Taiwanese money. And if they break relations with Taiwan, all the money with St. Vincent and the Grenadines or Taiwan would become due immediately. That's how the agreements are written if there's a material change in the circumstance. And a material change will be if you shift relations from Taiwan to China. And it's a lot of money, and I'll come to that. So, they want to see if they could get some debt relief. And they want the hospital especially to complete it. And then, we're going to see whether the hypocrite change it on again. Eh? I just want people to understand what is happening, you know. There's a baby play government you have, you know. And they think everybody just looking on and going along with this baby play foolishness they have. Used to say, we and Taiwan so tight, we like family. It's not a relationship. Friday saying it's not a relationship, it's a partnership. Well, clearly, it's not a marriage like a family. It's like a common law union. Not even that. Is man and woman living together. Used to go further. But then, they say they're going to break relations with Taiwan if they get back in office. And they campaigned on it. During the last election, Friday tried to talk out of two-sided mouth, but never disavowed the policy. Never disavowed the policy of one China. That one China being mainland China. And that's where they're going. Now, over the last 25 years, St. Vincent and Grenadines, we build up our relations beautifully with Taiwan. We got a lot of grants. We got a lot of soft loans. We got university scholarships and other forms of training. The assistance went across all areas: physical infrastructure, education, health, social protection, agriculture, information technology, national security, disaster preparedness at the time of any national emergency, hurricane, suffer blow. You could rely on Taiwan to be helping.
And we thank them very much.
And we thank them very much.
For the bridge especially.
And the ULP is the one, the ULP government, that set up the embassy in Taiwan. Mitchell, just like how we set up the embassy in Cuba, and we set up the embassy in Venezuela. We set up embassies elsewhere too, but I'm talking about those which are where we had strong relations for 16 and a half years. NDP never set up an embassy in Taiwan. They didn't see the need for it. I saw the need for it. Because I the man who negotiate with President Chen. For instance, the scholarships, university scholarships. And we have a lot of Vincentians who study there and a lot of Vincentians there, and some of them who have scholarships stay on. Some of them building families in Taiwan. As you have when young people go and study, most go come back. Some go stay in the country there, some will go to other countries. Normal. But we set up because the relationship, I considered it sufficiently important to have a permanent mission there. Just like the relationship with Cuba and the relationship with Venezuela. You know, you have to set up institutional arrangements to follow policy, you know.
Yes.
Eh? So, I make it look easy. A man and woman think it easy. Eh? Good. Among those things, for the grants, we have a substantial grant towards the construction of the Argyle International Airport, the Rabuka Bridge, the National Library, the Park Hill Educational, Cultural and Sporting Center, which the money I leave it there. It start before we were voted out of office in November. And they're going on the project Vikey Vike. Like they're going with all the projects them which we leave Vikey Vike. But the only thing which happening in the country, the projects them we leave, you know, they're running on ULP steam.
Yeah. And the people know that.
And the people know that. In North Central, there is that. The one in Park Hill, the project there in Park Hill. There's the one which we started with the modern clinic in Byra, which is financed by the World Bank. Up in Georgetown, with the market.
Yeah.
That is financed almost entirely by Taiwan money.
Okay.
Let me tell you the kind of relationship which we developed and how we can get certain things done. Let's take, for instance, the library. The library costs about $8 million US. Call it $20 million EC from Taiwan. You know how that was initiated? And you have to know what is happening. I was in Rose Hall one evening, and I got a call that Dominica was shifting. Prime Minister Skerritt had gone to Dominica, had gone to China, mainland China, and was shifting from Taiwan to China. And I know that there were some resources which were to be sent to Dominica for a particular project. I quickly inquired as to whether the money had already been sent. But the Taiwanese had gotten wind that what Dominica was going to do, so they didn't send the money. Right away, I contacted the Taiwanese from Rosal, by phone.
Okay.
I say, well, the money is in your account in the bank in New York. I need a modern library. Organize and give me that money, I'm giving you shorthand. It was done more politely and with plenty sophistication. You who was you are coming from?
Yes, straight at it, straight
from
at
Rosal,
it. Okay.
Then you take the project in. We're going on in Park Hill. I wrote the president. I say in 2025, I would be representing North Central Windward for 31 years. And in every community, there's something which I am doing special. For instance, in South Rivers, we built a temporary clinic, cost $800,000. And then we were going to use money from the Saudi fund to build a $6 million modern clinic. Bought the land and everything, have the design and everything. Well, they locked that down. The NDP locked that down. Down at Bellevue, by Central Arrow factory site, we're going to build the educational, cultural, and production hub, a center that was going to be in number just over $4 million, $5 million. Again from the Saudi fund. They put that on ice. The NDP put that on ice. Then in Connery proper, I was distributing lands and put in $6.5 million worth of road on the top of Connery.
Yes.
Where we had distributed lands before,
Yep.
where beautiful houses have been built.
Yeah, I remember.
Then in Beira, I built about the lands down from the Anglican Church, paid over $750,000 for those lands, and built a $800,000 temporary clinic, break down the old one, and get the money from the World Bank to build that. Chester Cottage. I bought lands from the Joneses family and organized, give out, and to put houses for Georgetown. We had the money I got from Taiwan for the market. Different things come from different sources.
Okay.
But the one for Park Hill, I wrote and tell them that in Park Hill, I wanted them to, I tell them I have the land above where the school, where the park is, talk to the Taiwanese ambassador here. Within 1 month, I write in the letter and explain how my connection with Park Hill, apart from being the representative, how my mother lived up there. Write them a nice letter, making representation. And get my mother and my grandfather and my grandmother and my friends and other family member, and I want them to do this. This is something, a special gift. Because 31 years now, just gone past 30 years. So for each area, you notice what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
I was quietly doing something to celebrate.
Yeah. Manning Village is a nice village.
Beautiful village.
Yes.
That was... Well, there are a whole heap of things which were done.
Yeah.
But I was talking some specific things which were done
Right.
for the 31st. In growing up Chile, the $1 million facility for the sporting, the hard court, the netballers and so on. So that I had, in each community, I had things. Georgetown, we distribute some lands to. Things which they're making fuss about, you know. But this is why I tell people, the land which we allocate to you, if they take it away from you, just tell me, you know, I put them in court. I'll put on my gong. I'll put on my gong. Gunman put on the guns. I put on my gong.
Put on your gong, yes.
I put on my lawyer's gong. To defend the people. Anyway. Then, let me tell you, I give you some of the grants. Of course, I the man who negotiate the scholarships, you know, the university scholarships. I started in 2001 when I went to President Chen the first time. And every President Chen came here, President Ma came here. When President Chen came here in October 2005, NDP demonstrated to show them that they have support, you know. And they mustn't give any money for the airport. He gave the announcement that he will put money to the airport while he was in St. Vincent. I talked to him before. I got him to deal with the scholarships. Started from 2001, the discussion. And by 2004, he agreed. That's how all the allies get university scholarships, you know. It's 12 times I visited as Prime Minister, you know. Taiwan. And I visited Taiwan before when I was opposition. Deputy leader of the party, the ULP, in the opposition, and as party leader and leader of the opposition. Before, when Friday in opposition, Friday ain't go Taiwan, you know. He went mainland China, you know. So when they say I use hypocrisy, I know what I'm talking about, you know. And I don't use words like these unless I have evidence to support what I'm saying, you know. And you read the Bible. The Bible have a lot of references about a hypocrite. Read it. We are Christian people. Read it. Look up to see the number of references about hypocrites and hypocrisy. And see where, both in the Old Testament and the New Testament, that what Almighty God think about hypocrites. Huh? I'm going to foundational things, you know. I'm not talking about people who make mistake in life. I'm talking about rank hypocrisy. Now, on the books, these are the estimates for 2026, the current loans on the books. The total amount disbursed as at the end of December last year, what we owe Taiwan, is $503 million approximately. 503, that's what's disbursed. That is, what is disbursed is less than what has been contracted. Because, for instance, we borrow 125 million US for the acute care hospital at Annesville. But at the end of last year, we only spent just about 100 million. Just about 40 million out of the 125. 99.9 million EC dollars. Well, 40 out of it. Of course, over the last several months, more money would have been spent. They say that the total amount is in excess of 350 million US, which is about 950 million EC. And I wouldn't dispute that in terms of what all is contracted, what remains to be drawn down. By the way, if by the end of December you had spent just 500 million, but I had contracted a further 450 million EC. How they say I ain't leave no money give them? Eh? But what is disbursed? It's almost, by the time I left office, it was about half the money I contracted with them. Eh? How I leave them the money? We money they using for some of the roads. Eh? Is bottle stopper? Eh? Where they using out at Annesville? Is it plate money? Remember when you little, you playing different games. You playing it for plate money. You know, a salsa which break up. No, you got a little piece of it. You say, well, that represents so much money. But a stopper represents so much money. Eh?
Right. Well, there's a question early upon that one there. Someone's asking if your government has ever given any contribution to the Vinci Day in New York.
I will have to check. It's quite possible that we made contributions to several things with people overseas. But what the person want to ask about is this. What I think the person is getting at. And the people who are involved in Vinci, they wouldn't know this. There's an NDP man who sent a proposal to the government. Say he will promote Carnival in New York. Carnival 50 years. In the June and July sun. From 1977 to 2027. And he submit, I'm told, a program for 40,000 US dollars to the lotto. Send it to the government send it to the lotto. The lotto board say, this is a joke. So they say no. The man went to Friday. And Friday call lotto and tell them give the man $20,000. People say they see what the man do. He say he go promote it up on that day. Vinci picnic. There was nothing special which he had promoted. I don't know if the 20,000 US is just the down payment of the 40 and they will give him the other 20. I'm telling you what I've been advised. Remember, plenty of people calling me and telling me many things, because a lot of foolishness going on. That's how they're throwing my money, But the guy who get it, I don't follow him on social media anyway. I hear he almost holier than Christ. You know what I mean? Selfless patriot. Selfless patriot, but you want $40,000. I don't know. I ain't calling the man name. But this is what taking place, you know. But they ask the question, they're going to take me off of the Taiwan narrative. Because I want to stick to it because there are many things. I give the background, I give what we are doing, what has happened, and the underwhelming nature of Friday's visit. So, Friday goes to Taiwan. No. I want to mention one thing before I come to Friday going to Taiwan. In addition to all the loans, the soft loans, in addition to all the grants, there's an annual grant of $4 million US called civic structure grants. Civic, meaning any wide range of things which we agree on. Every year. It used to be $1 million when I came to office. I got it increased to 2. Then I got it increased to 4 last year. I told them that they have to carry it up for me to at least 5 in 2026. And if they only give one additional one in 2026, they have to give at least another one in 2027. So carrying it from 4 to 6. We had an understanding about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is annual money. Out of that money, the 4 million, we use it to pay on-site. We use it to pay Prime and Prime Plus. We use it to fund Yes and Set, among other things. Because 4 million US is 10 million EC. So we have some physical infrastructure things in the communities. We put some also to social protection. For instance, when we have disasters and hardship and the like. Now, I will come to what they say they got, you know. I just want to remember that number, 4 million US. That is unrelated to any of the other specific things where we get grants from. For like some money we get grants for the airport, like some money we get grants, like all the money for Raboka, the building up at Park we're doing, the library, which you see down there. Imagine they oppose the library too, you know.
I remember that one.
They oppose the library too. They say building big library and everybody going online. I say, if you hate books, you're going to hate books whether they're in physical form like this or they're online. I say, but we're going to have books like this still where people go read. And we will also have IT systems in the modern library, which you have.
True.
But they were just opposing everything. No. And the Taiwanese trusted Comrade Ralph and my government. Look, you remember 3 years ago when mainland China was threatening Taiwan across the Taiwan Straits? I went to Taiwan, in August of that year. It so happened I arrived the day when Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House of Representatives in America, was leaving. And I had to tell the press, I did not follow Nancy Pelosi. I wouldn't follow Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi will follow me. But I am following Nancy Pelosi. Not Not with anything like that. She want to follow me, she could follow me, but I am following she. Because I had organized my visit before Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, and third in line to the American presidency after the president and the vice president. I didn't go because she went. But I even went to the southern part of China, of Taiwan. And I saw from Kaohsiung the military boats for China, 12 miles off the coast of Taiwan, you know. I went there while the people were under potential attack. So they know that I ain't no fair weather friend. Our support is principled, and we're the only one. The Chinese would tell you that, the mainland Chinese. Though Ralph has relationship with Taiwan, he has very respectful engagements with the government of the People's Republic of China. We don't have relations with them because they don't want to have relations with us if we have relations with Taiwan. Okay? We small, but you can't tell me who I must have relations with. Sure. And you can't hold it against me if I have relations with. Just like America can't hold it against me because we have relations with Cuba and they don't have relations with Cuba. Okay?
Someone is asking, if they continue with Taiwan, do they have to pay back China the money they gave them to campaign?
Well, one is government and one is party. You don't mess wrong with an ancient civilization, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The ancient civilization does take time to and kill ants, you know.
True.
Yeah? I'm using metaphors. No. So I'm talking about the loans, which make up the 503 million approximately, which was disbursed out of, they did the addition, they said, and it's about 950 million in all we had agreed on.
Okay.
With different items. What are these loans covering? Public sector investment phase 3 Exim Bank. That's the Export-Import Bank of Taiwan. The Export-Import Bank is a state-owned bank owned by the Taiwan state and is overseen by the Ministry of Finance of the government of Taiwan. A lot of countries have Exim banks. They facilitate import and exports and business activities. So there was a public sector investment phase 3 with lots of little different things. Not a lot of money remain on that. Just $8 million. EC. Then there are 1, 2, 3, 4 loans relating to the Argyle International Airport. 1 from the Mega Bank and 3 from the Exim Bank. Those monies also we have paid off most of those particular loans. Those 4 loans, one is 11.5, one is 13.5, one is 7.9, and one is 18.3. That's at the end of December last year. And so we don't owe a whole heap of money remaining on the airport. We have an asset there of over $1 billion, maybe $1.2 billion, and we owe maybe $160 million on it. So it's and it ain't 10 years yet. Since we open, next year will be 10 years. Then there's a Exim Hotel Development Project. That is the one where we are going to join with some investors out of Jamaica to build a hotel down at originally Moncton, but then they agreed to go over to Peter's Hope because Moncton, we say, is sandals. Okay? With the beaches. Well, some money has been spent there on designs and other things. And I understand that the new government don't want to put any state money into that, so they may not take up the balance of that loan, which is 50. The loan was $50 million US. If they don't want to do that and they think that the people could finance it all by themselves, well, we will see about that. All right? I don't know when anything happens there. If I see what arrangements are made, I will talk about that. I have my ideas, but I don't want to talk them yet. Then there is the money for the modern courthouse, modern parliament. That loan, some of which was spent. Then, because that is 20 million US in all for that, but all of that hasn't been spent. We have used money out of it for the parliament, because we built the parliament out in a temporary parliament out at Calico. That they also opposed, Then the port modernization support loan, that was a big one. And the secondary road rehabilitation project and the acute care hospital project. All projects. When they talk about they know you spend the money on. It's here, as reported every year in the parliament, Before this government and since this government. Because they have to be reported into the parliament in the appendix on the debt. And not politician who prepare this page, is the public servants. You understand me? No. So they go to Taiwan. They come back. In terms of money, what they're talking about, they say they get a grant of $2 million to put to the National Development Bank. And they get $1.5 million to put to social development. What they haven't said is whether this $3.5 million is in addition to the usual $4 million US we get for grant. If it were in addition, they would have said so. But they have not said so. So, my dear Monique, what I think all what happened, the Taiwanese just redistribute the existing money and they put it in different clothing. If that is so, because if it were not so, they would have said, this is in addition to the $4 million US, which we would normally get annually. So they have questions to answer here. If this is just a redistribution of the money, the $4 million, what is going to happen to the funding for the yes and the set? Well, they don't kill Prime. And they kill the on-site, the 6-month training program for persons, particularly in technical and vocational fields, where we were paying people, young people, to be attached. And we were giving grants with Prime and Prime Plus for young people and people who are more than 40 years old. Up to $40,000 as a grant. All kind of people get, including NDP people. Because one of the man them who is involved in music and song system, he get $40,000, you know.
Yes, for sure.
And I hear he use some of the same equipment we get to campaign for the NDP.
So true.
Eh? And I ain't begrudge him nothing. Eh?
True.
Because it's one thing with me. Me don't begrudge anybody, but I know that you will act in a way which is not particularly true to yourself and honorable in every respect how your mommy bring you up. Sometimes things happen to you, you know. I think he's the same man I hear was cussing when around Carnival, when he wanted to do something. When Israel Bruce and Leacock had some little basa over, he should get the place.
Yes, yes.
I just watch on, you know. You hear me tell you, girl?
Yes.
My dear sister, my dear comrade.
Yes.
Lord, I'm talking like other man, you know. Yeah?
Yes, yes, yes.
No. So this is the first question. Is it new money, or is it the existing annual money which we get being redistributed? You hear me?
Yeah.
And then the rest is a set of fluff. You know, Eyewitness News, I want to choose what they say because Eyewitness News, they had a lot of headlines generated from Friday's visit. You know who own Eyewitness News?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
His Excellency Kenton Chance, Ambassador of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to Taiwan.
Taiwan, yes.
Eh? Who wasn't out there telling NDP that they must abandon the one China policy? No. He would not do that. But he ended up now going ambassador to Taiwan. I don't know if he was hoping to be ambassador to mainland China if they did break relations, because you know to talk Mandarin.
Mm-hmm.
And the scholarship he got, you know, it's through the initiative of the Comrade, you know. You can remember.
Yeah.
Because I do these things without looking for any reward. The good Lord will give me my reward, you know. Eh?
Yeah, man. God's timing.
Listen to me. Let me see. And the article them, they write just like Kenton, you know. I know Kenton writing. Here's some of the headlines which came out of Friday visit. Friday eyes Taiwanese business mission as SVG court investors. Well, we always ask for Taiwanese investors to come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I'll come to deal with investment by Taiwan in countries. Another headline. SVG, quote, in very serious, unquote, talks with Taiwan about national debt. Third headline, Taiwan pledges grant for SVG Development Bank, boost funding for social programs. Another headline, Taiwan welcomes Prime Minister Friday with military honors, state banquet. Another headline, Bramble urges Taiwan to reinforce diplomatic solidarity with commercial enterprise. And every single one of these stories, which written in Eyewitness News in Kenton, Kenton denied that you were the man who write them. While you're doing the job as ambassador, you're carrying out propaganda work for the NDP government.
Yes.
Tell us whether the Comrade is wrong. I am not talking, I'm just telling you, I read it and it sounds like the Kenton I know how you write. But every one of them is written with such effusive praise for the NDP government, as though this is new. As each of them never happened before, is groundbreaking, is historic, it is earth-shaking. But all they are is just a set of words. Same thing with Taiwan supports. Taiwan support sought for Tibet expansion in SVG. Listen to me. When you strip away all the verbiage, what they reported on is $3.5 million. Easy. $2 million for the development bank, and I'll come to that just now. I mean US. And $1.5 million for the social spending. The question is this: is that new money on top of the existing $4 million which we got annually, and which they had indicated to me on my representation that it would increase in 2026 and 2027? I want them to tell me whether I could find out, But I want them to tell me, is it new money? I know you must be saying already, Ralph, you know the answer. But why you tell me? Is it new money or the old $4 million annually, US, which is just redistributed? And if it's just redistributed, we know you cut out Prime. We know you cut out on-site money. Now, it's just this redistribution of the money. Instead of taking $5 million EC from it, nearly $2 million US to give out in Prime grants, put it to the development bank for people to borrow. And I come into that just now. So that's an important question which I put there for answer. So that the NDP fanatics were celebrating, he get money. First of all, is that old money being redistributed or additional new money? And I'll come to the development bank just now to talk. But all the rest is just a lot of verbiage. Let us deal with the one which they place in a lot of emphasis. Well, let me say this. They write the story that they welcome him with welcome Friday with military honors, with a military presence, and they giving a banquet. Every head of government that goes to Taiwan, they have a military welcome, and they have they first of all have a guard on you for the airport. And before you go and meet the president formally, sometimes they have the military honor there. That is just normal. State-to-state relations. NDP fanatics, there's nothing new or dramatic there. But the thing is this. When presidents lie, LAI, my dear brother William, because he had promised me that he would come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines this year, 2026, if we had been re-elected. And I had a good conversation. When he welcomed Friday, Kenton himself reported this, The president of Taiwan said that it was pleasing for him, I'm paraphrasing, it was pleasing for him to note that Friday had been in office for 8 months. And this is the first visit he has made outside of the region and the hemisphere. And this was an indication of the mark of friendship. What is the unspoken sentence there? Because the ancient civilization, they don't just talk things, The ancient civilization, this is the part which wasn't written, but which is a message to tell me and others. Yes, you come after 8 months. But Ralph was here within 6 weeks. And Ralph didn't send a veritable John the Baptist before me, named Leacock.
Right.
To come make a fool of himself, to talk to me about 12 vehicles. What happened to them vehicles and all it? Well, Leacock say you was going to get? Eh? Friday even poo-pooed the vehicles issue when he went to Taiwan. So if the president is saying he's pleased that Friday come there after 8 months, first place outside of the Caribbean and the hemisphere, what do you think about a man who come there within 6 weeks, like Ralph? And Ralph had been there before.
Right.
And then, when Ralph went, on his first visit, I was accorded the highest civilian honor which can be granted to a non-Taiwanese, the Order of the Brilliant Star with Special Grand Cordon.
Congratulations.
So, did they honor Friday on his first visit? With any such thing? You think the ancient civilization, you think you can fool them? They measure it, They measure in you. They don't play cricket, but they want to see if you're going to bowl bouncer. You're going to bowl half break if you mix it up with googly. Hey, if you're like break bowler, mixing it up with googly. And what they got it wrong on? The Chinaman. They watching you, You think that? So when they tell you, when they say they're pleased with that, they say we are even more pleased that Ralph came after 6 weeks.
Wow.
That is the sentence which ain't written. And we are even more pleased that Ralph didn't send somebody as a forerunner.
All right.
Eh?
Yeah.
You have to read the diplomatic language of the ancient civilizations, I know it well. So, he set the stage for an underwhelming visit. Now, could you imagine if they did give him an honor? Kenton might have done the lambada in the nude. He'd have been so happy.
Yeah.
He'd have jumped up, he'd have jig. The NDP fanatics and them on state media name had 97. Would have been, oh man, they would have been ecstatic. We are always seeking investment from Taiwan. National debt. Let me explain to you how they reported everyone here at 5.35%, but this is not accurate, because for the acute care hospital, the maximum interest could be charged is 3.5, and the modal interest for all the others is around 3%. So they need to do some corrections here. I'm not saying they did it in any way to mislead people, because after June 2023, the benchmark interest rate for dollar-denominated derivatives and loans, the new benchmark was called SOFR, S-O-F-R, the Secured Overnight Financing Rate. It replaced the benchmark called LIBOR, the London Interbank Offered Rate. There were some problems with the London Interbank Offered Rate through collusion with some banks in Britain. Okay. And they changed it. And this new benchmark of SOFR, S-O-F-R, as I say, it's a benchmark interest rate for dollar-denominated derivatives and loans, replacing the LIBOR, and is based on the actual overnight repo transactions. They're transactions in cash, but which are collateralized. That word collateralized, collateral, by U.S. Treasury securities. So it's a new benchmark, which they claim is more transparent and nearly risk-free. The Secured Overnight Financing Rate. That is the new benchmark, the rate at which you're doing your cash transactions, collateralized as against with the U.S. securities, and it goes up and down. So you will have a loan saying you have a commitment fee at half of 1 percentage point on the loan, and you have a base rate of 1%, and that is, those are plus SOFR, SOFR. Okay. So that if the SOFR, SOFR varies, it's high. Like for instance, if you go and check on the SOFR now, let me give you an example. As of the 17th, I went and checked the rate for SOFR online. It's 3.66%. The 3-month average is similarly 3.6%, slightly under 3.66. In June 2023, when SOFR came into being, the average in June was 5.01. So if you borrow when SOFR is 5.01, and you had to have a commitment fee of half of 1 percentage point plus 1% in base, you're talking about therefore 6.5%. But we wouldn't borrow money at 6% or above. So that when we came to the loan, for example, with a hospital of 125 million US, I said to them that the most we will pay is 3.5%. So that any time, though the agreement with the bank says the 1 plus a half, the basic rate, plus SOFA, we have an agreement with the government itself that anytime all of it goes above 3.5%, the Ministry of Finance in Taiwan will pay the difference. So what we will pay is not more than 3.5%.
Okay.
That letter is inside of the Ministry of Finance. That's how we control the interest rate, you know. You see the point I'm making?
Yeah.
To make it more reasonable. What is the kind of debt relief you could get if they're talking debt relief? You can get debt relief on the basis of the bank which lends you renegotiate, get a lower interest rate, or you could get a longer period of time of amortization. Or you can get debt forgiveness, like how we got debt forgiveness for Otley Hall, and we got debt forgiveness on the Petro-Carib loan at the airport. You see where I'm coming from? Yeah. The issue, though, when I got the low, when I get the rate, when I get the reduction for the loan, the debt relief on the Petro-Carib loan, I negotiated with the Venezuelan government, with President Maduro and with Delcy, who is now the acting president, and with the Petro-Carib people. I negotiated it on behalf of all the OECS countries. No. They say that there is a very serious conversation. Taiwan is not, if Taiwan is given any debt relief to St. Vincent, they will have to give debt relief to every single one of their allies. If they don't, they will have problems. They're going to have problems with the legislature in Taiwan, because the executive has to report to the parliament, the legislative legislative body. And if you give St. Vincent debt relief in the Caribbean, you have to give St. Lucia, you have to give St. Kitts and Nevis, and you have to give Haiti. And then in Latin America, in South America, Central America and South America, you have to give Belize, and you have to give Paraguay. And then you have to give debt relief to Eswatini, formerly Swaziland, in Africa. You have to give debt relief to the Pacific countries with which they have diplomatic relations, Taiwan. So it's one thing for a man to have conversation with you. You're talking to an experienced man now who has done debt relief more than one time. And got it. I got debt relief from the British government when they refused the NDP on the Commonwealth Debt Initiative. I got debt relief from Venezuela on the Petro-Carib loans, which was substantial. And I got debt relief from the Italian state agency Sashi of $180 million EC on the Otley Hall project.
Okay.
I deal with that relief, And I did that swap between the Bank of St. Vincent and Grenadines and the Caribbean Development Bank in relation to monies which we had owed the Bank of St. Vincent and Grenadines when a liquidity crunch came after the 2008-2009 global economic meltdown. And we took certain policy decisions attendant upon that. So you're talking to a man who has been in this cauldron, and I make it look easy. I ain't do lambada naked, I just set about doing it. I make it look easy. It ain't easy though. You see complications which I'm bringing to you and tell you the frame and variations of that frame. No. The question of TVET, there's an agreement between us and Taiwan with higher education. What they will do with our community college and the science and IT AI lab which we are going to set up, using some monies which we are negotiating from Qatar. TVET, St. Vincent and Grenadines has the best TVET infrastructure in the OECS. That is why when the British government 4 years ago, had a project to put £8 million in TVET expansion in the OECS, in the four Windward Islands, they used St. Vincent and Grenadines as the headquarters. And we left their monies to do a further expansion of TVET, including building a TVET facility in Union Island. And the money from Saudi Arabia in relation to the hubs in Bellevue and also in Chumuka and Peterbodel had TVET dimension in Bellevue with agro production, agro processing, and in all three with TVET skills in information technology and in culture, including music. They put all of them things upon ice in the 2026 estimates. You hear what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
No. I read very carefully what this young man, Kevin Hope, who is an intelligent young Vincentian professional. I know him. And when Kevin Hope, as the person who is in charge of the board of Invest SVG, we went on this delegation. When he spoke about the incentives which we have for investment, which we always talk about. The good governance which we have, the systems, the structures, the legal system, the protection of private property, air transportation, port facilities, good tax system and the incentives which we give, good governance, institutions, generally planning and all the rest. You don't get from Kevin when he talk about these things. The foolishness from people like Friday and Bramble and so on, the conversation which they had earlier, where they spoke the market completely. That means it's a failed state. If you're a failed state, which investor going to come? Eh? And then when you say your debt is unsustainable, if it's unsustainable, who will lend you more money? Eh? If you can't pay your existing debt. By their words, they spook the market. That's partly why you see they got the downgrade from Moody's. And check the records. St. Vincent and the Grenadines in Latin America and the Caribbean has one of the highest rates of direct foreign investments in proportion to our GDP than other countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. Check it. Look at the reports. We reported on that on an ongoing basis. And the proof of the pudding in the investments will show you that Sandals came and invested $300 million US, $800 million EC, down at Bocament. Eh?
Yeah.
And then a further $50 million work, which was ongoing when the NDP came to office, and they tried to claim that. Believe people in down, they seen it happen, and people forget that we talk about that. That was ongoing additional. And then right now, after we had signed an agreement for $500 million US dollar investment, $1.35 billion EC. That all now, so it should have started down at Mount Win. They came in, they bad dog Sandals in the election and before the election. Nitpicking about this, nitpicking about that. Sandals put us at the end of the queue. All now so. Workers should have been down there earning plenty money. And if that project had started this year, I tell you with certainty that this airline called Delta out of Atlanta would not have pulled out.
Okay.
They just pull out seasonal, completely. Because you don't think that they get the memo that nothing happening?
Yeah.
That Sandals put us to the back of the queue coming down to 2030? Eh?
Yes. Yes. This is an interested one. The person also sent along with this text 2 photos of you then as PM visiting a site in French's to establish a lab. All right, but I'm going to let you know.
Yes.
Right. How can the NDP expect to be looked on favorably by our Taiwanese friends when their policies in opposition was anti-Taiwan and insulted the Taiwanese by a state visit 8 months after winning the elections? The Taiwanese places great emphasis on education and development of people, so to cutting of Prime Plus and other programs by the NDP, which is funded by the Taiwanese, will not sit well with our Taiwanese friends.
That is a person who is informed and sensible. As an experienced and knowledgeable soul, whoever he or she is. Well, the photographs not lie.
There you go.
The photographs not lie.
Yes, there you go.
No. There was under us an excellent climate for foreign direct investment. And we had to put the infrastructure in place. The major foreign investment which has come and which in the offing came when we built Argyle International. And they fight us down on that, including Friday.
Yes.
Eh? And the first thing they do when they go out there is to take down my picture.
Yeah.
You think take down my picture could erase history? That kind of Stalinism. And Stalinism, which is of a right-wing nature, is fascism. They're kind of trying to erase memory and erase history. Ain't going do that. So they will take down the photograph of the man who lead the building of the Argyle International Airport, which was an impossible dream. But they will change back the name from Independent Park and elevate Queen Victoria, who never put foot in Vincent. Call it back Victoria Park. Eh? Let me tell you something. I just waiting, you know. I just waiting. People understand what is happening. There's more I could say about this the underwhelming results from the state visit of Taiwan, of Friday to Taiwan. But I think I've provided enough for the Vincentian people, and I've done it in a responsible manner with lots of information. Let me deal with National Development Bank again. You know, we had made it plain that the National Development Bank is not a necessary financial instrument, or indeed in the circumstances, desirable. In the existing circumstances. No. When they talk about they cite examples that you have National Development Bank in Dominica and Grenada doing good work. Bring the bulk of the money by the National Development Bank in Grenada and in Dominica, spent on two things: house mortgages and university education. We set up an economically disadvantaged student loan program, started with a committee, and then set up a student loan company, specially to deal with this. We have since 2002, under the ULP, loaned over $100 million to students. You have a delinquency rate of about 20% when we left. That is to say, about 20% of the money in people not servicing. It's a revolving fund. And there are rules which have been established. That is more money than the Development Bank in Grenada or in Dominica spend on lending money to students for education. And in our student loan company, the government guarantees that the money will be paid. That's why every year we provide a $500,000 for the continued capitalization and recapitalization of the student loan company. And what we did, We put all the learning resource centers, we put all of them under the student loan company, so that the student loan company got capitalized right away with $20-something million. So anybody dealing with it, know that it's just not just a company which receiving monies from government or loans on lending to students. And the interest rate is 4%. So I want to see whether the development bank going to lend the money at that rate of interest, and if they're going to lend as much. We set up the Farmers Support Company with $5 million EC dollars specifically, and every year practically we replenish it. That had a high rate of non-performing loans, which has affected the company, the Farmers Support Company. And of course, instead of lending money to small entrepreneurs, micro enterprises, we gave grants of up to $40,000 to get you off the ground. Not lending you the money. If you're going to set up a bank, the bank has to be properly capitalized.
Yep.
I gave the history. There was a window at the old Development Corporation, DEVCO, which was a one-stop place established since the days of Milton Cato, existed right up into Son Mitchell time, James Mitchell, Sir James time, which promoted investment and which had a loan window. The NDP, when they were in government in the last year, they set up a National Development Bank. They capitalize it with $5 million EC dollars. And they transfer from DEVCO, Development Corporation, all the good loans and the bad loans. The bank was insolvent from its start because the bad loans at DEVCO overwhelmed the $5 billion capital which was put in. And then, of course, the bank, you have high overheads and so on. When we came to office, we closed that down. Because we saw that it was going to be a suck me well. You hear what I'm telling you? And we found other ways to do things. The bad loans from DEVCO, Development Corporation, has set up a special purpose vehicle to recover the monies at discounted prices from people. Discount the loans now. In other words, if you owed so much money, bling, if we could only get 50 cents on the dollar from you, we take 50 cents from the dollar and call that charge.
Yep.
Eh?
Yep.
And we put that money in the bank at St. Vincent. Well, National Commercial Bank. And we established a thing called the Micro Enterprises Loan Program, MELP, until 2009, 2010, when we altered the ownership structure of the Bank of St. Vincent. The National Commercial Bank, it became Bank of St. Vincent, and we brought in St. Lucians from the St. Lucian Bank of St. Lucia. And then, of course, subsequently, we bought back the majority shares, and the government owned 60-odd% of the Bank of St. Vincent now. The Bank of St. Lucia own 20%, and the ordinary Vincentians own 17%. Between the NIS and the government, they own 63% of the Bank of St. Vincent. And we developed the Bank of St. Vincent, and we supported and strengthened the credit unions. And we did so through the FSA with this entity which was failing called the Building and Loan. Now, Friday in the parliament, trying to throw words at me, playing demagogue, he said that I'm yesterday's man because this idea is too creative for me. National Development Bank is a 1970s idea, for heaven's sake. Yep. It's not a mid-21st century idea. True. I explained what is happening in Dominica and Grenada, and the Barbados Development Bank was closed down in Barbados in the 1990s by Oinata because the thing became like a charitable institution. Friday is saying here, you understand the criticism, that is going to be a serious bank and not a charity. But NDP people who in government, who just like how they were using National Commercial Bank, like their piggy bank, experience teaches that they will go and use this National Development Bank. Yep. The same way. And that is what the IMF man who Friday paraded told him. The IMF man tell him, I don't agree with you about that. Well, they double down. And the man explained about why are you going to take resources which you can put elsewhere into the bank, into the development bank. The amount of money you're going to need for it to be meaningful. The amount of money you're going to need is going to be so substantial. And that money is not available. They're scrunching around for little bits and pieces. They put in the budget $500,000. Now they say they're going to get $2 million from Taiwan.
$2 million US.
Well, as I say, I don't know if that is redistributed money. You listen to me, Billing.
Yes.
That could start a bank. They also say they're going to get money from citizenship by investment. They want Europe and America and Canada and Britain to stop taking our people with our passports.
That's the idea. They don't love incentives.
Eh?
They don't love incentives.
But I want to tell you this, Bling. We have institutions in this country which have enough money to lend to everybody who go into them, including small business people.
Yep.
Let me tell you at the end of 2025, how much loans the Bank of St. Vincent has made to the private sector, including mortgages. Close to $750 million. You know what I'm telling you, Bling? Close to $750 million. By the way, at the close of the 2025 financial year, the total amount of loans to the private sector from the banks in St. Vincent and the credit unions come up to approximately $2 billion. You hear what I'm telling you, Bling? Yeah? And they have more money still to lend if you go there with projects worthwhile. But we were saying in the ULP, if you can't get For those who can't get projects worthwhile accepted by the bank, because the banks may not be giving allowance for people's creativity, the extent of the risks and so on. So to help them with a kind of venture capital, no, we go do prime. Huh? To help you out up to $40,000 to put you on your feet. Grant. They close that down. But they go on lending money instead.
I think that's the idea for them.
But I want to tell you the amount of money already being loaned to the private sector by the banks and the credit unions. The close of 2025 financial year, over $2 billion. And the number I'm giving you doesn't involve the insurance companies, the money lending facilities, hire purchase, credit cards. No, I don't have the number for the Police Welfare Association, Police Welfare Credit Union. I'm giving you the numbers for Bank of St. Vincent, Republic Bank, First National Bank, St. Vincent Co-op Bank, St. Vincent and the Grenadines Building and Loan, GECO, KCCU, and St. Vincent Teachers Credit Union. Nearly $2 billion. You hear what I'm telling you, Bling? Already being loaned to people who hold mortgages on houses, business properties, for these institutions which hold those. For people in tourism, in agriculture, in fisheries, in IT. But for people who may not be able to satisfy those institutions. And you know, once you're a member of a credit union, it's fairly easy for you to get a loan there, you know. And there are some of us who in credit unions don't borrow money there. You know, Bling, I belong, all them hear the talking. This man here, I have an account by the Bank of St. Vincent. I don't have an account in any bank overseas or any other financial institution. I have, well, let me just correct that. I have a insurance policy with a company which is a Caribbean company, not a Vincentian company. All right? But in terms of we're making deposits to save or to do business, I have an account at Bank of St. Vincent. I have 3 credit unions. GECO, Police Welfare Credit Union, and Teachers Credit Union. I put my money supporting the civil servants, the police, and the teachers in our Comrade every month. And I also have an account at Building and Loan. I support our institutions. I ain't got citizenship anywhere. So when I was Prime Minister, I had to make sure, and Minister of Finance, it was in all the citizens' interest and my interest to make sure the Bank of St. Vincent is in order, properly regulated, run properly. Make sure that the credit unions, the same thing. Make sure Building and Loan. Once the weaknesses arose at Building and Loan, we had FSA which started. You remember when we tried to stabilize it, the criticisms NDP gave me? So I go into Building and Loan through FSA to take Building and Loan money. You remember that?
Yeah.
When my government was offering to put money inside a Building and Loan to help to stabilize it, with money through the central bank. And the forgiveness that I gave Building and Loan on the extent of the money which they owed to inland revenue? To help the stabilization of that? No. This is what at the end of the financial year, around $2 billion in loans to the private sector in various areas. But, comrade, how much they have in deposits? Those institutions I call about there for you. Bank of St. Vincent, Republic, First National Bank, St. Vincent Co-op Bank, St. Vincent Building and Loan, GECU, KCCU, Teachers Credit Union. $2 billion, in private sector loans to different instruments and to different levels of private sector. And I'm saying where there's a gap for small ones, we had Prime. Bling. And we go to the parliament and we supporting them with grants. By the way, at the end of 2025, how much loans GECU had out? $225 million. That little drop of money, You know much KCCU had? 116 million.
Wow.
You know much Teachers Credit Union had? 125 million.
Wow.
These are the stats I have, comrade.
Wow.
When I come, I've been Prime Minister of this country for 25 years. I've been active politics for 58 years. As a political activist. I represent my constituency for 32 years. I'm 80 years old. I am not coming to the people with any irresponsible talk,
It's true.
I'm coming to you with facts and figures.
True.
And how school are keep and how we did things.
The facts. It's true, comrade.
That's why they wanted me to go home,
Yep.
Eh?
Yep.
The good Lord works in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform.
Yep.
But as the loans, what about the amount of money they have, these same institutions, the deposits they have? Bling, at the end of 2025, the deposits were $3.5 billion, In other words, there's a lot of liquidity still, lot of slack where they can lend. But see a fella who writing, small businessman, he come back doing contracting work, looking to the state for state estimation of honor.
Yep.
He will line up at that draft day,
It's true.
He begin up the National Development Bank. Man want run away, after they go to the trough. So man and woman want to do that,
It's true.
Friday, a whole idea which we have seen the problems which it has had, and even the IMF man who Friday present as a guru to the nation. The IMF man talk a lot of foolishness, which I explained before. The Russian fella. He understand how this economy hold together. And he making some recommendations which will bring the economy to its knees.
Yep. Yep.
I studied economics. I read it still. I was on the Monetary Council for nearly 17 years, stabilizing the Eastern Caribbean dollar. Went through all kind of crises. This man we're talking, we on the radio here, I led this country through the terminal stages of the end of the banana, the end of the banana industry, with the market preferences removed by Britain and Europe. Led us through the difficult period after 9/11. lead us through the period from 2008 to about 2011, the global economic depression and its aftershocks. Lead us through the problems consequent upon the war in the Ukraine, with rising prices in fuel and other commodities. Lead us through 16 natural disasters plus the volcanic eruption.
Almost one a year.
You better tell you, comrade. And we have made immense progress and transformed this country for the better. So I'm talking and lifted thousands and thousands of persons out of poverty, provided social protection, put the NIS on a sound footing, Vinlec Water Authority, 98% of the people, 98% of the people, 99% of the people in this country they have electricity connections.
True.
Similar number with water. Housing move from 28,000, 29,000 houses to nearly 46,000 households, 47,000 households in this country. Distributed or gave titles to in excess of 7,000 parcels of land for housing. And I make it look so easy in break a sweat.
Yeah, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. I think governing is easy.
I make it look easy. I'm giving you now the facts and the figures. Built all the polyclinics, deal with their clinics, improve Milton Cato Market, the modern medical and diagnostic center. I mean, the education revolution.
Major achievements.
The Argyle International Airport, Rabaka Bridge, all the city fences,
Major achievements.
the sporting complexes, the cultural facilities. Amidst all of those difficulties and challenges which I'm talking about,
Correct.
in addition to the normal ravages of monopoly capitalism, and keep the dignity of this country going.
Yep.
Raising Vincent profile in the world as never before. They can't erase that record, you know. And it ain't dependent on an election, you know.
Nope.
It's there for everybody to study. And people now realizing the problem. Bling, there's a lot of money in this system to be loaned. But this money is not leaving the credit unions, GECO, KCCU, Teachers Credit Union, Police Welfare Credit Union. Ain't taking the money and put it in the development bank, you know, to lend. They could lend it themselves.
Yeah.
You think building a loan co-op bank, First National Bank, Republic Bank, and Bank of St. Vincent, they got their own monies to lend? You think they're going to spread it out for the development bank? They have to find the independent sources. Where they finding it? They go put money there from passports. Well, the British, the Americans, the Canadians, the Europeans, tell them what they think about that. Those are the places. Let it go ahead. They see the challenges which exist already. And these institutions, Bling, I'm telling you the amount of loan over $2 billion. But their deposits is $3.5 billion. So they have liquid cash still. And their assets at the end of 2025, over $4.3 billion. No. Friday say, I ain't creative enough to understand the genius of the National Development Bank. What kind of genius? They dance, set up. FART, people attack. Eh? An idea which has been discredited so many times. No, I have no doubt, when the Development Bank is set up, one of the persons who lining up at the trough, just like how they were doing in the old days at Bank of St. Vincent,
Free money, that is. Free money.
Eh? Free and air, free money.
Yep,
And we will pay for it.
of course.
The ordinary people will pay for it.
Yep.
Find out from Friday where whatever money he got, whether he got most of it in Canada. Eh?
That's a good one.
Eh? I ain't got nowhere for go,
That's a very good one.
I ain't got nowhere for go.
For the people, by the people, with the people.
No. I want to come back to crime and insecurity. On Monday when I spoke, it was 31 murders. We now have 32. I don't know what is happening to the woman who got shot on Friday night. I don't know what is happening to the man who got shot in Chateaubelair. I hope, for God's sake, they didn't die. But bling. The first 7 months in this year, seven fours, 4 months in the year, 28 weeks. You have now, we could say today is the middle of the month, 30 weeks. You got 32 murders, 32 homicides, sorry. Call it on an average, 1 a week. We have bling, and just using the 4-month period, we have the 4-week period for the month. We know it's, when you add it up, it comes to 52 weeks in the year. But doing it the way in which we're talking it here. Looking at it as though it's just 48 weeks now. 12 fours are 48. But we know it's 52 weeks. We have September, October, November, December. We have 4 months remaining. Call that 16 weeks. Plus 2 weeks remaining in August. That's 18. If so far is 1 a week, and you gone 32. If you got 18 and the same thing continue, you're going to go sail past 40 and reach 50. But remember, there's still 4 more weeks because I'm only doing it with 48. Eh? Well, I'm doing, and I see Friday reported again, new sheriff in town. Mm-hmm. Well, Leacock said he was a new sheriff, but when Friday was talking about new sheriff in town, meaning Buju, my partner, the commissioner acting. And he's an experienced policeman. And I'm sure he'll come to ideas, but let's face it. There's no magic bullet, Eh? What are the options? Bling. More police, better trained police, more vehicles. Friday poo the issue of vehicles. Like when Taiwan, he didn't bother Leacock with that. Better intelligence gathering and the coordination between ourselves and the regional and global intelligence agencies which are friendly with us. I'm not talking about the social and economic dimensions. That is to say, the family, the church, the community, all that is vital. The bullets, the guns which coming in, and the ammunition which coming in. All of these things we have worked on, And I'm telling you, we have worked on them better than this government is working on them.
Yep.
Because Leacock lips are so loose. I don't know which regional international agencies will trust him with high intelligence. Confidential intelligence. Because I don't know which day you have a problem between your brain and your mouth. We have seen this before.
Of course.
I've spoken about it before. I don't want to go over what I've said before. I'm giving you the conclusion.
Plus, he says he knows where the guns are coming from.
When we bought the equipment for the port to deal with the containers now, so that we can sit through the containers and to see what this is. We're spending all that money on that for.
Exactly.
All the things we should do. So, but on security, all Friday say, all the homicides, they say it's unacceptable. It's of concern. Bling, what is frightening? This is a complicated problem. But what is frightening is what is happening. People just shooting up in town, killing people within spitting distance of the police station, police headquarters. Bling. In broad daylight, you're shooting up in town.
No regard whatsoever.
People relaxing up by the cruise ship here in a car. They get shot. Going about your business on Friday night, you get shot. No, that is what brings fear,
Correct.
I repeat, when bad man and gunman killing one another, of course every life is important. But law-abiding people say, well, I ain't going in them alleyway, they where them and kill them gunman there. I ain't going to hang out where they normally get hang out and kill, and I ain't going by the house where they get.
There's a sense of fear.
But the thing has gone at a different level. Buju, Trevor Bailey, who is a good policeman. But if you want to say that you have a seriousness in the police force, how can you take a politician like Smith, Brenton Smith, who was station sergeant 5 years ago, didn't take the vaccine, went home, could have come back, but you waiting. You want to see if you could get rid of Ralph and the ULP to come back in.
Okay.
He come back in. You make him skip assistant inspector, assistant commissioner, superintendent, and came straight to assistant commissioner. Where he is one of the top 5 police, because you have one commissioner. At the moment, one deputy paid for. They're supposed to have 2, but only one is actually budgeted in money terms. And 3 assistant commissioners. Smith leapfrog over so many people. There are lots of very good assistant superintendents of police. Lots of very good superintendents of police who could become assistant commissioner, acting or substantively. But he catapult Smith. He's catapulted there only on the basis of his political allegiances. Anytime I see Smith, and any reasonable man sees Smith, you see a politician in uniform. The people who are subordinate to him in the police force, when they see Smith, they see Smith as a politician in uniform. When the commissioner and deputy commissioner see Smith, they will see a politician in uniform. I am not against Smith personally, at a personal level. I'm not against him and I like him. I saw him yesterday when I was coming out of the church. He smiled and nodded to me. I smiled and nodded to him. But I saw a politician in police uniform in the same way that I nodded to other politicians. And I sit down in the same pew with Kishore Shallow. At least what they asked me to sit. After I sat there yesterday in the church, the protocol come back and tell me, well, they put me at the wrong place. I should have been higher up. And I say, I'm satisfied where I am. Them things don't worry me as to which pew I sit in. I in the church to pay respect.
Exactly.
So I'm about that. I tell them, a senior official from the state administration came to tell me, no, it's protocol and so on. Your rightful place. I said, listen to me. Just leave me with me day. I comfortable sit down where I sit down.
Comfortable.
You know what I mean? Don't worry about that. I don't have these vanities.
Exactly.
I never had them, and I told to cultivate them.
It doesn't where you sit at all.
I come back to Laura Anthony Brown, my dear friend, who is a good public servant. She's chairperson of the Police Service Commission. I cannot understand how she presided over a decision to promote a politician and having skip. So it's wrong. It has a corrupting influence inside of the force and a nasty politicization. You can't have any way at all, any talk afterwards about not having politics running the police force. I explained everything last week, the legal position. I noticed, I'm not saying one thing against Trevor Bailey. I'm not saying anything against Junior Simmons on their elevations. And as a citizen and as a leader of a political party, former prime minister, former minister of national security, I will work with them and assist them in their jobs. And I urge all of us to do so, whatever reservations. But because if you see them, whatever their weakness is, they're not politicians in police uniform. But Smith is a politician in police uniform. It's like if you put a politician and put him in judicial robes, that people will have a confidence issue. But here, I'm urging, and the Leacock say you want the man to be in charge of, he's going to be in charge of human resource to decide who should get promoted and who don't get promoted. I believe that he and Buju will clash, He and the commissioner will clash. Because Smith going to think that he got that liquor guy back and going to advise as to who should get promoted and who shouldn't get promoted. We'll see what the next promotion list is going to be like. And the one after the next one. Already there are a lot of grumbles inside of the police force, about what is happening. It will reach a crescendo. And I am going to write CARICOM and the Commonwealth about this dangerous politicization of the police force. And the agencies in CARICOM which deal with crime and security are going to have a problem. And so too the international agencies are going to have a problem. The DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, the FBI, the British intelligence services, the French, they're going to have a difficult time dealing with loose-lipped politicians who don't know when to talk and what to talk. Loose-lipped politicians in government who don't know when to talk and what to talk. And politicians in police uniform. No. 1:45. I know. Let me deal with these questions. I'll tell you the questions for oral answers first. Those for Parliament by me. The first question, the three questions I'm asking is to Friday. The first one is for the updated fiscal summary. The fiscal outturn of central government for the period January the 1st, 2026 to July the 31st, 2026, with comparative data for the same 7-month period. I got up to the end of the first quarter. But usually, even though you get the first quarter, they usually update it. What happened is this, and I'm saying this, I hope the speaker understands. Every month, the Minister of Finance, and if the Prime Minister is not the Minister of Finance, he gets it too. A fiscal outturn up to date every month. So in this month of August, they would have received the up to date for up to the end of July. I want that. Also, you will get monthly for each month. So you will get for the last month for July too. But all I want is the updated number from January the 1st to the end of July. Because I know how they're prepared. So I don't want the speaker come and tell me, well, I'd ask a question like that before. I'm not asking the question. I know that I got an update to the end of, I know I got what it was, the end of the first quarter. But I want everything updated to the end of July with the comparative data for 2026. Then I want to find out about how much money we owe Solon Rubis for the period May the 1st, 2026 to July the 31st, 2026. Because I got the answer for up to the end of April already. I got that answer in July the 2nd. But I want to know now the number for May, June, and July. Because I'm pretty much sure that when I add that to what I know before, that it's going to be $20-something million.
Right.
And then I want to know how much local loans we have for the period June 1st to August 15th, and the terms of these borrowings, rate of interest, and amortization periods. I know what the number is up to the end of May because I got that. I want to know the number from June to the middle of August. Those are my questions there. For Kisal for oral answers. Kisal asking about the budget numbers for the tuition scholarships. She asking about the Public Assistance Board, when it was constituted, and information. She's asking a question also about Delta Airlines. You know, all the reasons surrounding there. In relation to Carlos, for oral questions, oral answers, Carlos is asking about the crime, escalating crime and recent homicides. Mm-hmm. He's asking about the fuel price shocks and the increase in prices, and about targeted subsidies for vulnerable groups, including low-income households, registered minibuses, and taxi operators. And he's asking the questions of the Minister of Housing in relation to the number of houses repaired during the second quarter of 2026. In relation to, so those are the 9 questions. In relation to the 12 for written answers, these are the 12. I'll give you the 4 by me first. One has to do with the summary details of the current status of each of the capital projects to be financed by monies from the Saudi fund. I'm asking questions about the Black Sands project and what is taking the place, what is the successor to that. Asking about if they pay any money so far for our acquisition of Baliso and how much. And I want them to provide details about the additional buildings out at Arnesville for the hospital to accommodate pediatric, maternity, and dental care, and to give timelines and also estimated costs and the source of money. Because from what I heard about the project which they want to add on, I think it will come out to about $65 million. I don't know where to get that money from. So I want to get some money, some clarity on those. Then Carlos is asking for written questions. Something about the exemptions under VAT and duty-free VAT exemptions, duty-free customs exemptions, emergency relief expenditures. Also borrowings from on treasury bills and the regional government securities market. Asking a question about the renewable energy. Asking a question also about the lighting for Sir Vincent Beach Stadium, as well as Golden Grove in Chateaubriand, Layu, London in Sandy Bay and Belay Plainfields. And Kisal is asking questions about her 4 questions for written answers. They relate to pre-del larceny and public assistance, details on public assistance. She's asking about the MOVE program, the Mobile Vincentian Empowerment Service, which she had initiated, and about its status. And she's asking about issues for young people, employment, entrepreneurship, sports, culture, skills training. So we're asking a comprehensive list of questions. No. I want to speak to some things in Canawan, and I know people in Canawan, they're expecting me to talk. If you're holding on and wait, I'm sorry that you have to wait so long. Now, let me explain for people who don't know. There are three substantial areas of foreign investments in Canawan. Two-thirds of the island in the north, which had been leased to Saladino, but with Saladino sold off to Pinataro. Up there in what you call the developed Northeast, you have a hotel run by Mandarin Oriental, which is owned separately. Pinataro has 15 lots of lands which are undeveloped, and they are developed villas by him and a number of other homeowners, including Ian Weiss, the famous Ian Weiss. Very generous and good human being. And then you have about 600 acres otherwise of undeveloped land. So that's in the north. You have other restaurants and the like, but I'm just giving you broadly. So it's Pinataro and homeowners up there. Mandarin operates the hotel, which is owned by an entity owned by Pinataro. Then there's the golf course up there. Which is owned by the development company which leased the property, which leased the land from the government. Then there is Soho House, which was formerly the hotel which was there called Tamrin. The land is owned by the government, is leased, and the government had in Tamarind 1/3 shareholding. But that has been expanded into Soho House. And then you have in the southern, that's outside of the developed north. And then in the south, further, you have Glossy Bay Development, which is the marina, Glossy Bay Marina, near to the airport. The government owns about 16-17% nominally in that entity. The valuation of the shares, don't know what they're valued now. And then, of course, you have the village in between.
Yep.
And people with their businesses, and you have government buildings and so on and so forth. That's Ascanoman. Under my leadership, we built the jet airport. And we have done tremendous work in Canawan. And WASE has helped us to, after the disaster of Hurricane Beryl. Now, before the election and during the election, I campaigned on the need for us to get rid of Pinataro in the north, because I'm satisfied that you're not going to have any real development with Pinataro. The government hasn't made much money out of the north since Pinataro took over in 2017. So you're talking, we had 9 years to see what he's doing. Well, 8 years during my time. And he had plans, he had shared plans. He was a successful businessman from Italy. His headquarters was building his business in London, not too far from the Bank of England. Went to his headquarters already, more than one time. Met him there, met him different places in Canawan and Miami and different times in my role as Prime Minister, discussing Canawan. Then we had COVID, and COVID was a difficult time. And I'm not an unreasonable person. Things were stalled during COVID and immediately thereafter. But I was having my real problems with him and how the pace at which the development was taking place. The plans were not working. What he is talking about. I'm giving summary. And then Beryl came, and during the period of Beryl, I became 100% sure that Pinataro was not the right fit for the north of Canawan, or indeed any part of Canawan. So I set about to have evaluation done as to what he had there. Not his not the Mandarin Hotel, not his personal villas or the 15 lots of undeveloped land owned by him. Because it was clear to me that neither the workers, the community, and the villa owners, there's no sector down in Canawan. Now the government was satisfied with Pinataro. So I got the valuation done by a reputable global company and consulted the requisite lawyers and made an offer to buy back the leasehold, the undeveloped land, plus the golf course and facilities connected there too, but not the Mandarin and not his personal lots of land, which were owned freehold. And at the time, we were engaged in a battle. The number came up to about 36 million US. And I didn't want the government itself to be running it, the North. And I was looking at other financiers, other developers. I should point out that Ian Wace was not one such developer. Lest somebody feel that Ian Wace and I got involved over Canawan to help because he wanted to replace Pinataro up in the north. He was not an investor with whom I was having conversations. Potentially take over. And I campaigned on it. A speech I made, the major speech I made in Canawan, was entirely on this subject. Spoke for about an hour. And I continue to say that we need to get Pinataro out of there and pay him off properly and move on with an appropriate investor. I can say more, but I'm keeping it as I always do with these things, bare bones, so that people could get what is understood. The arrangement with Soho House, there's a big organization of Soho House which brand the place. So that's really a branding and a management exercise by Soho House. But Soho House doesn't own the real estate. As I say, it's leased property in which the government owns the freehold interest in the land and in the hotel which existed there before, 1/3. I'm talking about the hotel prior to Soho House. I didn't address my mind as to what we should do with Soho House and what Soho House, if there's any successor there other than Pinataro. But I really wanted Pinataro off of Canavan because I don't think it was good. For these collective activities, I wasn't talking about his individual lots of land and whatever his villa is, villa or villas. It's important that an investor of such magnitude, that what comes to our attention, I should share it. The Financial Times on the 7th of, big newspaper in England, one of the most respected newspapers in the world. You can go online and read it. Financial Times, 6th, 7th of August. But there's also which you might find easily, a story which came out of a publication called IL Sole, SOLE 24 ORE. And the headline is ION, which is the company by Pinataro, Andrea Pinataro. The headline is ION by Andrea Pinataro, delays in rent payments in Australia, Germany, and the US. And the story says this. Some back issues of Andrea Pinataro have attracted the interest of the international press. This year, the fintech group ION, owned by Italian billionaire Pinataro, one of Italy's wealthiest men, is reported to have been late in paying the rent for his offices across 3 continents. The property owners, according to the Financial Times, are said to have blocked access or threatened the company with eviction at its offices in Sydney, Munich, and Connecticut in the USA. The amounts owed for the offices of Sydney and Munich have been settled, a source close to the situation told the Financial Times. What is the defense of Pinataro's company? The defense is this, that they have over 50 offices worldwide and they employ more than 13,000 people. And they said that, quote, with a property portfolio of this size, differences between property owners may occasionally arise in the normal course of business, and these are resolved in the normal course of business. This is exactly what happened in this case. That's what they said. The company added that, quote, the matters in question have been resolved. There are no outstanding amounts, and the fractions involved, the sums involved represent a fraction of 1% of the company's annual profits. Any insinuation that these matters affect the group's financial position is entirely without factual basis. That's what they said. But to be fair to what the man says. According to sources familiar with the matter who spoke to the Financial Times, Eon employees at the Sydney office reportedly found an eviction notice in their office in one of the Australian capital skyscrapers relating to late payments totaling approximately $90,000. Staff in Munich, Germany were reportedly being denied access to their offices last month. In this case, the outstanding payment is said to have been $40,000 US. In the United States, at the Connecticut office in May, the owner of the premises used by Eon is said to have brought legal proceedings, claiming that one of Eon's subsidiaries had failed to pay the rent in March and had not vacated the premises as requested. The legal proceedings in Connecticut were withdrawn last month. The Financial Times notes, highlighting the group's $10 billion debt and markets concerns about the impact of new AI tools on its core software business. You see, the Pinataro company has a core software business for financial technology, fintech. But the Financial Times said that this group owed $10 billion, not 10 million or 10 billion, and that the market is concerned that artificial intelligence tools will have an adverse impact on the core software business of the company. Eon owns financial data companies. These include, and you can look them up on the internet, Merger Market, Fidessa, Fidessa, and Dealogic, Dealogic. The company's financing costs have more than doubled since 2022. This is what they have to pay on the debt, reaching $800 million US a year, following interest rate rises by central banks, according to the financial information reported by the Financial Times. Essentially, according to this report, Eon has grown rapidly through a series of acquisitions, financed with low-cost debt during the era of extremely low interest rates, and now generates EBITDA, EBITA, as the earnings before they have interest and taxes, so forth, depreciation, of around $400 million per quarter. That's they generate that about $400 million per quarter. The group, which is headquartered in London, has seen an acceleration in the sale of its publicly traded debt because its debt is publicly traded. And they give the information that a $1.5 billion bond issued by Eon Platform Investment Group is currently trading at 80 cents on the dollar, down from 96 cents in mid-January. This fall in price means that part of Eon's debt now offers a yield of over 12%. In addition to the debt listed on the markets, Eon's holding company holds a further $2.5 billion in private debt underwritten by investors including HPS, a private credit firm controlled by BlackRock. So that they're saying that the debt is squeezing the company and it has problems. Of course, they claim that that is not so. They don't. You can go online and check these things. I put in this information out, additional to what I mentioned, that I had come to the conclusion that they were not a proper fit in all the circumstances. There are more things I could say, but I will say that. No. The airport in Kanawhan, since we built it in 2007, the jet airport, big asset, has been deteriorating. Normal wear and tear, and we got a lot of problems with burial with it.
Camera is outside.
Yeah. You can hold on, give me. Beryl, tell him I want to see him. Beryl create problems to the perimeter, the sea defense.
Yes.
There's a lot of scouring of the runway, which needs to be addressed. Then, though there were some repairs done after Beryl to the terminal building still needs a lot of work. And we need some work done to the air tower, air traffic control, the tower there for air traffic, and also the fire station, the fire brigade station. We had concluded the negotiations on a loan from the Caribbean Development Bank for 40-something million US dollars. Plus we would have had to put in about 4 million US from our money. The total cost in EC terms was 132 million dollars. In all, everything. We thought that the design which was done by a reputable company, that there was probably an over-design and the costings is certainly too much. So we asked that there be a slimming down of the amount of work which needed to be done and to do cost cutting. We thought that you needed to cut that by about 25 million US. You had to almost half the money. Need to do the sea defense properly for the airport. We need to do the runway. We need to do some work on the terminal building, some work on the fire station, and some work on air traffic control, but not to the extent and not for the cost which we saw there. And before we left office, there was such a slimming down. But even that sum, I thought that we needed to cut further. And certainly we can't invest that kind of money with Pinataro in the north, because the Dans would not be able to pay for the light. Because we would essentially be building an airport spending that money for a handful of people to fly in with their private jets. We need to see more substantive development in the north. Well, Dermot Desmond, who owns the south, so the government has a shareholding there.
Yep.
He's working with Pinataro to develop the golf course, because Dermot Desmond sees that the golf course is an important extension of his investment in the south, the marina. Excellent facilities they have down there. But whether or not Dermot Desmond and he work out doing something on the golf course, that's neither here nor there. Still, I'm saying that experience has taught that what is required to be done, cannot be done by Pinataro. When you have the trust between the government and the people on the one hand and the homeowners up in the north, just everybody, you need a new developer. And there are several other details as to why we need a new developer, but I'm giving what is the substantial strategic frame. And I shared my views with two important state officials in the current administration. So I want soberly to put that forward, and I think that there is great prospects of that being capable of a solution in the interest of the people of the St. Vincent and Grenadines. And it could bring upfront additional revenues to the government. if this takeover is purchased by the government and that it goes to the rest of the and that we get somebody else to come in to help with the development of Canon. It's too important an asset. I want to reiterate let me just say, there's an island which is not too far from us, from Canawan, Petit St. Vincent, Petit Mustique, which had been purchased during Mitchell's time by the Nano family, but which was purchased. There is about 100 acres of land there. And Mark Maloney, Barbadian investor, had bought it. And they had submitted, and we had gone fairly some distance down the road. He had a development project for it. But they had to go back to the drawing board because they came first with a draft, then they came back with one with features which were in the original one, which were entirely unacceptable to us. They wanted that anybody who purchased, they will develop the island. Anybody who purchased a lot of land there and put a house on it would get citizenship. And, well, that's just not possible if I'm in government. So I tell them, come back. In fact, when the second draft came and I reached that again, would have a different variation of it. I say, y'all don't want me continue to read this agreement. Because this is an insurmountable problem. We can't get over this. I'm not going to allow you to sell a parcel of land and somebody build a house on it. And they get citizenship. Not going to happen. Not under RALPH, not under the ULP. Well, these fellas who are there now, they might be so hungry for a project. Anything might go, But I just want to bring that to the public's attention too. Look, people know me. You know how I am. You know the principles from which I move, the philosophy and everything, which have brought great development to this country. I was going to sell it out. And Mark Maloney is a good investor. Look, people continue to tell me about the hardship that's going on. And I see it and I feel it. People coming to me. Could you imagine, Bling? A single parent, a woman, has a child in secondary school and 2 in primary school. She works intermittently. She goes to social welfare. They tell her that under the new policy with the government, only 1 child could get any help. No. That may be the case in some circumstances. But how you could have a rule like that across the board? You're supposed to be dealing with the situation in the family. And the business of the state is to help the children, to educate themselves and hold them together. Instead, what the government is doing, the politician them talking morality to the women them, and it coming down to the persons working in welfare. Some people in welfare. Well, where you gone and got picnic with worthless man for? Where mining the picnic them? You know, where you don't even know where one of the father there, or two of the father them, and all the rest of it. People have a problem they don't need from you. This kind of talking down to people and invoking a morality, where very often the persons who talking down to people and invoking this morality themselves may have a problem living up to the standards of their own proclaimed morality. This is not a question of private morality. It's the public morality. It is immoral to have 3 children where a parent has to choose which of those 3 children will go to school. Huh? If all 3 children in the particular family need assistance, all 3 children must be helped. What kind of bourgeois or petty bourgeois foolishness? You come in to talk to the woman about, well, you should have known who you're having picnic with. But the children are here, I can't send them back. Eh? They're a reality.
Exactly.
And the boy who is 11 will shortly be 12 and 13 and 14, and then you can't control him. You deny him opportunities. And they're among to keep him in Belial prison. You're going to be far more than if you help the person, help the child. I don't know why with their starched version of a private morality, they want to impose it upon what is a public question of public morality. It is immoral to deny the children and such households help, and to set an arbitrary thing that is only one you can help. And there's so many cases like this. Blink, if I tell you the number of persons who come into me for help and I have to help a whole heap of them because
Just can't allow it.
and I have to be calling other people to try and help, and some other people who want me case about this or that, I had to try and prioritize, because I mean they're suffering. Yeah. Don't look. There's a man in my constituency. Well, at least he operates a big boss in my constituency. NDP man. He was telling a fella last night. Matter came to my attention. He said, listen, I want to give back Ralph the government right now. The fella said, I mean, give back Ralph the government. He said, look, I came from nowhere. I helped myself, I build up, I own this bus. I've been saving from my operations. He said, but since the NDP has come to power, come to office, he said, I can't make any money. He said, so I have to take from my savings to help run the business and to run my home. You know how frightening that is? You come out from down in the hole. You feel yourself on a platform. Ralph's policies help you reach there, you know. But you think NDP going to carry you higher. Instead, the change for that fella is for the worse. He gone down in a hole. And he sees the prospect of reverting to where he came from 10 years ago, you know. It's frightening. Just like it's frightening with people who don't walk the street, who don't want to walk the street in Kingston with their children or grandchildren for fear people can kill them or shoot them up. It's awful. And there's some NDP persons. A man reported something to me. He passed a vendor and he was talking to this vendor who, an NDP woman. And the person is a known ULP person. And the lady know that too. So they're having a conversation and the man asked the lady, she want to engage the man in conversation. And the NDP woman who's selling say, in answer to the question from the man, well, now your government in power. I know when I pass earlier, you're upbeat, you win. He say, right now how you feel you win? She say, yeah, I feel I win because I doing all right. Her son, a grown young man, told him, Mommy, stop it. You know we're not doing all right. You know we ain't win. We worse off than when Ralph was there. Look at all the shoe them which we buy. We can't sell them. Look at the time. School opening in 2 weeks' time. You see, you could say we win. You see, we're going to do with all this thing. And then she got very embarrassed and started to tell his son to shut up. But the boy, this is what happened, There are examples like this all about,
Yep.
Poor people who used to get help with their housing, none of that happening,
Nope.
The supports in social welfare, not happening.
Nothing.
The place dead and everybody see that. And the government is just with gimmicks and the people flying all about, you know they're flying for. You know?
They saying anything when they come back?
And when they come back, they report underwhelming stuff. But they're a handful of people in the media and who looking for eating a food or eating a better food for the time being.
Yeah.
But things are falling apart. There may be questions. There are other things I want to talk about. I just want to say that I checked this morning. Oil prices for the 18th of August, globally, Brent crude is up to $91.79 a barrel. A barrel will have about 35 imperial gallons. West Texas Intermediate, which is an American benchmark, close to $86 per barrel. And those numbers are hiding what's happening with the price. And this is why, for the future, this thing, even if the Iran war were to stop tomorrow, because the part of what has kept the price from even rising higher, global prices for the crude oil, is a couple of things. One, the strategic petroleum reserve in various countries, including the US, but they run down those reserves to almost nothing now. So what was lost in the Strait of Hormuz, they were made up in part from the strategic petroleum reserves in various countries, the developed countries, about 32 countries in all developed and emergent economies. Then there was some stock on vessels which was moving around. And China had so much, they had stock up on so much petroleum. And they usually buy a lot when the prices is low. And they play the long game, the Chinese. And they reduce considerably their purchases in this period. So help to depress demand. So some supply came from the strategic petroleum reserves in several countries. Then inventories which were on their way to the market, which were on ships. And then China's purchasing, which I've just described. But what also is an issue is that you have problems from the crude oil to the refinery. So that is going to continue to be a problem. I've been reading up a lot on this subject, studying it. This is why I say I keep hammering away at the amount of money which we go owe Sal and Rubis. And that's why I see Carlos asking about have you decided really what is the margin, what's the subsidy we could afford and target it to particular places. And we have to deal with subsidizing rice and flour. Down at ECGC. We have to subsidize and not let ECGC lose, but to subsidize the consumer, because that's basic commodities. People have to eat bread, people have to eat the bakes, people have to eat the pastries, people have to eat rice. It's a very cheap source. If you ain't got we had removed the VAT on chicken parts and we had none on chicken back and neck and so on. So at least you have to think about things in some very practical kind of a manner. I had my feet on the ground, But let me see if there are any questions there. I just want to say, Bling, I may have to be away Monday and Wednesday next week, and to come back on Wednesday in time to go to Parliament on Thursday. I have a wedding on Saturday. I may have to go somewhere in the region on Sunday. So I may have to be away Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I have to read all my bills while I'm on the road. And when I get the bills, hopefully they end up before Friday, that I could spend a lot of time study them and have a meeting with Carlos and Kisal latest on Sunday morning, because I had to leave at 4 o'clock on Sunday. Tentatively, I'm planning to go to Jamaica and then to go from there to somewhere else. There's a lot of national work I'm doing, local work in my area and in the country, but also national work, regional and global. It's what the good Lord has allotted to me, and I will. My granddaughter wouldn't be so happy with me going away for a few days, but what are you gonna do? I had to talk to Gustin to make sure that somebody fill in for me. There's a professional matter which I had to talk to some other people about before I go to. And I have to go to, when I come back after the Parliament, I will announce which country I'm going to. I have to go to deliver a speech in a particular country in the region on the 30th. But I will come back. The 30th is a Sunday, and then I will come back the Monday morning in time to come for that Monday morning program. Then I have scheduled to do a speech in Washington on the 16th of September. Then come back to Barbados to attend a regional conference Then well, even before that, I have to do an event in London on the 7th of September. I have a speech at the university in late October in Barbados. I had to mix, I had to the demands and the time. And I told Rudy Matthias a project which he and I had to do together to write the story about what happened, how we built Argyle International. And I want he and I to get on with it, to write out that story, because people need to know the story in full for future generations.
Yeah.
All right, any questions?
There's one.
Let me just tell Lavon, after this I'm going to go and visit the family.
Lavon, you hear that?
I'm going to go and visit the family. I'm going to leave here.
The family will be visited
right
after this.
Yeah.
So there's someone sent a question early. As soon as I got in, they want to know when will the Public Accounts Committee convene their first meeting?
You know, it's funny. This morning I got up thinking about the Public Accounts Committee. The last set of accounts is the 23rd of 2023. And there's some things in it, even though it happened under our time, that we could have reasonably some issues on, and to try to see what if anything has been put in place to strengthen the processes. So that is a matter which I'm giving reflection on.
Okay. There's another question. Someone is asking, well, they're saying, good morning, Comrade. I think it's time for our party to organize some sort of event or meeting to let supporters know those persons who are willing to serve SVG. We cannot take things for granted. NDP is on the back foot. They are not doing anything to stimulate economic growth in this country. We have to keep fortifying our party all the time, so that anytime an election is called, we will be well prepared.
It's a good question. I have been looking at persons whom I know and inviting other people to tell me about individuals. Some of them don't even know that people talking to me about them, and I have conversations with them, feel them out. And if comrades have persons' names in mind, a lot of people have my phone number, could tell me, well, you know, talk to John Brown. This is John Brown's number. He might be interested. He might, you know, because there are some names which have been coming forward, and not because I haven't spoken about it doesn't mean that a process is not underway. But now that you have raised it, I want to invite persons to make suggestions to me. Could send me a note, send me a WhatsApp message, and if you got the number of the person, tell me, you know, I'll call you, find out a little about the person too, and build a profile in that way.
Someone messaged, they said they don't know if you already got the information that Albion Allen passed away.
Thanks. Basil Week sent me a message, and I wanted, before I finish, to send my condolences to his widow, wonderful lady, and to his family. He and I are good friends he's a little older than me, but we became friends in 1963. We became friends in front of the post office. We were going to write senior Cambridge exams. He was a teacher. He went to the teacher center and was teaching as a pupil teacher. And I was at grammar school. And some of the subjects which he was doing, and he talked to me about areas which he would have liked to get the benefit of my notes as from the grammar school. I used to keep good notes, and I gave him my notebook. He and I would meet at the Carnegie Library, and he will copy what he wanted from my notebook, not things which he may have wanted, which probably were not covered at the center where he was studying as well now. So it's from then, 1963. And even though he was on the other side, he and I always move well. I didn't even know he was at the hospital, or I'd ever gone to see him. I'm really sorry about his passing. He was a good man, and he and I have had many, many very good conversations since we came into office in 2001. And he, good human being, fantastic family man, good community man, made a good contribution to the constituency in North Windward. His community, his students, he was a principal in a primary school. And when we wanted to talk to one another, messages used to send. Laura Anthony Brown is his brother-in-law, is his sister-in-law, because he's married to Laura's sister. It's a small country, there's a lot of connections and links. So, I know him from since we were young men, teenagers now, going to write exams and so on and so forth. And I'm hoping I'm around for the funeral. Yeah. But condolences to his widow and the rest of his family.
Yes. Condolences to his family from Star FM as well. Another person just sent a message saying, corruption to the highest level. There is a Yes program worker working in an NDP shop in North Windward, frying chicken, and is being paid by the government, and a mobilization van transporting a minister to town each and every day.
Well, I told people that all of this thing will happen, because it used to happen before under the NDP. Well, there was no Yes program then, right. But similar kind of things what happened, and the misuse of government vehicles and all the rest of it by political personalities. It's just a cascading of poor governance. And Friday his head up is in the sky. Every now and again he comes up for water, for air, make some boring kind of general statement, a word salad of some kind. I mean, the thing is just, it's baby play government.
Yep. And
you see that there is no strong center who can hold. And the NDP supporters know it, That's why there's so much criticism of the government by the NDP. It's bad. The situation is terrible and getting worse.
Yep.
And nothing going to stop it, It's just going to decline. Go down the road.
I just missed a call. One person said that they message you. It's very important. They message you on your phone.
Okay, well, I can see the phone. I haven't looked at it yet.
Yes. A few persons will call in. I hope they call back before we officially end the program here.
Okay.
Can you please? Okay, so let me give this person. So I think this call would be. Here you go. Yes.
It's on?
Yes, it's on.
Good, thanks.
Okay. So go right ahead.
Hello, good day.
Hi, good day. Comrade.
Yes, comrade.
Comrade, how are you? It's a long time. I'm Marlon.
Who is this?
Marlon Wilkinson from South Rivers.
Hey,
Oh, man.
hey. Where do man?
Comrade, me there.
Oh, mommy.
I'm strong with you.
Oh, mommy.
Mommy's okay now.
Give mommy my
Mommy's
regards.
okay. Yes, I will. I'm still in the UK, but I'm still Australian. I'm still here, and I'm still fighting. And I'm still going to hold on to Labour all the way.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You know, don't give up.
I will not give up.
But you need to start to pong them. You need to start to pong the hard because them to lie and dishonest and them betray everybody in St. Vincent. Everybody I talk to, all they say, the place is hard. The place is hard. And I know the place is hard because with my little business, you know, it's hard to pay people because the money is not storing in the countryside. It's hard.
Well, you know,
It's very hard, comrade.
I gave an example this morning. I don't know if you heard me, but the examples can be multiplied, and I know your business in Canary there, and I know the problems. I see things.
Yeah. Because when UNP was in government, I am not afraid to talk. I used to get money from the shop. And I used to pay my workers and give them money over.
Wow.
No, so hard that sometimes I have to send money from England to pay them and to give them something over.
Yes. Well, is the same thing this man I was talking about, who had to draw down from his saving to run his little business and to run the home.
Yep.
And the fella see that he going downhill fast. That's why he tell a man last night, an NDP man, the message came to me. He say you want Ralph take back the government?
Comrade, we're ready and we will fight and I will come home and I will worry. You know I'm your warrior.
We know that
I'm
too.
not talking about my rest family, but you know I am your warrior.
Well, the whole family.
Yes, and I will never stop worrying. I will always be your warrior.
Thank you, comrade.
I just cuss them. I don't care because I am a happy man, but I have Comrade and I have St. Vincent to my heart.
Yes, I know that from long time.
I know what you do for those poor people, that their children could go to university, and who could be a doctor, who could be a lawyer, and who could be a...
And one of your nieces has just done very well in Taiwan. Eh?
You could not have get it from the NDP.
Yes.
It makes St. Vincent so high. Our passport is one of the most powerful passports in the Caribbean.
Globally too.
And in the world.
In the Caribbean.
And they want bring it to nothing.
You know, we can travel to so many different countries, but with a British passport, you have to have a visa to go in some of these countries.
Yes.
But in St. Vincent passport, you don't have to have a visa.
Yes.
Just go straight.
Yes.
Just like your home.
Yes.
You know, and thank you very much for what you have done for St. Vincent for
God.
25 years. I think the blind one them cannot see because they're focusing on the duns. I will put it like this, on the duns bunch who want to sell snail, who want to do this and who want to do that. They focus on them and they can't go up. Instead of them go up, they're coming down.
Yes. You talk a mouthful this today, comrade.
Sorry, comrade?
I say talk a mouthful today.
Yeah, comrade.
God bless you,
I give
man.
you everything I want.
God bless
So I
you.
want you strong up and I want you to fight the fight stronger.
I saw Roland yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were at a funeral.
Okay then, okay.
Go.
Man, you look younger now. You look younger than me. You look younger than me.
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. And I thank God for let the brain The brain still keeping going good.
Like you're 25. You look 25.
Well, I feel good.
Keep it up. Lynn.
Yes, sir.
Make
Yes,
sure
man.
you look after Ralphie.
All the time, my
Look
brother.
after Ralphie.
All the time, comrade.
Lynn, look after Ralphie.
And big
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
big up our farmer boy, the brethren.
Yeah.
All right.
The pro.
The pro, bring him up, give me.
The 10 pro.
Yes,
The pro, the 10 pro.
yes,
Tempo and I was in the military together.
yes,
Tempo is a good boy. And
Yes.
he does a very good job. Very, very good job.
yes.
You know? He did a very good job. So come on, you enjoy. And I want to tell everybody who hear my voice on the radio and whatsoever, keep fight. Labor strong, 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 strong than ever.
God bless you, man.
God bless. Take care.
Thanks.
Let's take another call. Yes.
Fine. Is there any other questions?
Yes, there's a call on the
Sure.
line. Hello, good
Hello.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, Comrade. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes, I said to Carlos the other day, I don't think when you're not there, someone should fill in for you. None of these programs should be void.
I agree with you 100%.
Too many guys out there who ran before. I don't know if they're not going to run again, but we should never leave a program.
Absolutely.
not there. Someone
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Listening to the boring, well, I didn't watch it live because I was doing something. I kind of listened to it later on, and it was so boring listening to Mr. Friday. But Comrade, is he back? Is he backing out from China?
Well, that's at the moment. The question would China allow him to back away?
Yeah.
You don't.
Because I've noticed from since they got into power, and I remember that I think was maybe the ambassador came to St. Vincent, and I think they had mentioned something about they like the way how St. Vincent is dealing with Taiwan. And I said, when I heard that, I said, you know what? They have always said, what would America say? And when I heard that statement about, they like what St. Vincent is doing with Taiwan, and I think maybe weeks after, I believe the Trump organization made maybe $1 billion deal with Taiwan. So I said to myself, there goes the key right there. Because, as I said, like their sister party. So if they like what St. Vincent was doing with Taiwan, and they went and did a deal with Taiwan, that says a lot.
Yep.
I don't believe Mr. Friday will ever go away from Taiwan. So, and one other thing I want to ask you quickly, and going way back, before you got into office, what was the medical system like for parliamentarians under NDP? Because I remember one time in Parliament, Mr. Leacock had mentioned something about his eyes. He had to pay money out of his pocket or and you had offered to pay for him, and he said, you got up and said, no, I don't need your money, your money. So I would like to know.
Well, I tried to get a program going, and the opposition didn't support it, for us to have like in every other employment unit, a group plan in which the employer will put some money and you put some money just in case anything happen. And they say no, they don't want it. But what I do know is that in the case of my brother Arnim, he's down. So, but I had instituted that he be paid, that nursing care around the clock be paid for him, which was which comes up to about 15,000. Well, not about, which comes up to $15,000 a month, $180,000 a year. But there should be an arrangement, and I hope that everybody now could agree that we do it. I put something from my salary, other people put on their salary, the government put something, just like any group plan now. Do it with Sachiko or somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It makes
So
sense.
you're saying there's still no, you're still saying, sorry, that there's still no plans in place for
None.
parliamentarians to be.
None.
Wow.
None.
That is sad.
It only will be done on a voluntary, on a basis, on a case by case basis. If somebody running real difficulties,
That is sad.
it's sad.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Very, very, very sad. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, Comrade.
God bless you, man.
Spoke to somebody. Yes, I know. I know you spoke to somebody the other day, a young lady from up in Florida, and they mentioned my name to you. I know they deal with the carnival in Tampa here, and they said they spoke to you, and they said, "Oh, you know, I'm Doyle's son. You know, Doyle used to be a Richmond Hill playing field."
Yes, man.
His son said to tell you hello.
Well,
He
yes.
told me that
Well,
he spoke
you
to
know,
you
I always tell
a couple weeks
everybody
ago.
at grammar school, very early, I realized the importance of Mr. Doyle
Yes, indeed.
and his contribution, and I used to listen to him a lot. I used to listen to him plenty, and after he retired, and I passed by the taxi stand, and he has his taxi there. It's I said, Mr. Doyle. Always, I couldn't call him anything other than Mr. Doyle.
Yeah. It's funny. I know you mentioned that before, and I myself never knew he used to drive taxi because I left St. Vincent at a very young age.
Yeah, he drove a
I
taxi.
never knew he used to drive taxi until I heard you mention that before.
Yes.
So that was something new to me. All right, come on.
Good man. A very good man. He was a splendid cricketer, you know.
Yes.
He's a very
Yes,
good
I heard
batsman.
so.
He was a very good batsman.
Yeah, I kind of took after him too because I played a lot of cricket in England. I even played with Gus Logie.
Oh, you played with Logie?
In Brooklyn. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I played a lot of cricket in England. We even hosted the West Indies team that won the World Cup.
Yes.
And they came to our place in Leicester. So I pitched with Viv Richards and the whole team.
But you live
right,
in
come
you
on,
live in
sir.
Leicester still?
No, I'm in Tampa.
Oh, that's what I'm asking.
Hey,
Okay. But you follow
Yeah.
follow Leicester Football Club?
Absolutely. I saw them play last week.
I noticed they're coming back up
Yes,
again.
yes. Well, I hope they wait and they got relegated.
I know they got relegated. They had, from winning the championship to relegation was a real problem.
Yeah, and they went down from Champion League to and got relegated.
I know, but they're back up.
Well, League One.
Yeah.
League One, so I'm hoping that they will come back.
Yes.
Hoping so.
Yes.
All right.
God bless you.
All right, come. Nice
Thanks.
talking to you. Same
Good.
to you.
Fine.
Yes, and you're looking young, as a person said. My brother said the same thing. Much
Thanks.
younger. Well rested.
God
All right,
bless.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
There's an individual who has been trying to get onto the program for the longest while, and so said the person's calling.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, how are you all going?
I'm doing all right.
Good. Let's keep it that way. I was on my way to work, so I could not stop to speak to you all. So I sent in a WhatsApp message, I'd like you all to read it, please,
Okay.
from the Immortal in Barbados.
From who?
Noreen Birchwood.
Okay then.
Lady was calling me and telling you do not give them no advice.
All right, my dear sister.
So you and Blaine have a good day. Here you all give my time at work now.
All right then. Love you. Take care.
Read it for me, please.
All right.
Thank you so much. You all travel home safely. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Love you all.
You know, Bling, there's one thing I need to mention. Again, a lot of complaints from people in the auxiliary. And, you have a lot of women in the auxiliary, and again, a lot of complaints from them. And I just flag it and so that the leadership will know that I'm aware. And as always a good and responsible person, I'm giving them an opportunity to sort out themselves. There's too much bullying which is going on, too much verbal abuse of people by some higher ranks to the ordinary auxiliary officers. Listen, we have to use more effective methods of management, and we have to cut out this absurd authoritarian personality which oscillates between submission and aggression.
Yep, definitely.
And a completely unstable type of leadership and relationship. All right.
Yes, so there's one more. Let's take this call. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good day. Comrade?
Hey,
good afternoon.
I just sent a message after this I go in.
Yeah, but don't go there again. He's at the hospital.
Oh, Jesus.
He has shortness of breath.
Which ward he on?
His wife. She stayed there by the A&E.
Oh, he's at accident and emergency. All right, I will go down nevertheless.
Yeah, so she's there. She's crying.
Yes, all right then. Okay.
Yeah, so
thanks.
you could go there.
Thanks.
All right.
Okay. Let's take another call. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hey, step in.
My loving...
Raise a witness, step in.
Prime Minister. When the after now calling him Mr. Doyle's son.
Yes.
We don't all the people like you and him, and all around the world, kind-hearted people like all that God will have a long life, good health, good strength, that all could continue to do good for the world, because that's what people like all in the world. So, Mr. Doyle, we don't people like you and the Prime Minister. I know you contribute.
We break off there.
Seems like we lost.
We lost you, Step in.
Step in, you have muted your phone, and it's showing that you muted your you're back.
Hey, Step in.
Yes. Mr. Prime Minister, I telling you, well, let me cut a long story short because the phone breaking up, I telling you, Sylvan, so it become a heap. From a center of the country to a garbage heap. And the guy them tell so much I like to get in Africa, boy, they can't. If you try to ask them question, they run away. They come back the same thing we used to say. They play hold on now, and now they can't answer question, and the supporters and them who support.
Yes. You're quite right. And the thing about it, as I say, they're using a holier than thou attitude derived from their own hypocritical view of private morality and imposing it on people where the question is not private morality but public morality. After a woman now got children with 2 or 3 different men, you can't be lecturing them and telling them the problem is this, that you have these 3 children with 2 or 3 different men, and you don't know where you're stupid, you do this and so on, you're coming now to ask us for help. You can't punish children in that particular manner. The question of public morality is, what is the responsibility of the state to children and for persons who are poor and in need? That's the question. That's not the private moral question as to whether the woman should have got more than one man. You know that? We gone past that.
Of course.
That is something she had to resolve, which is self in whatever way in terms of any private morality. But the public moral question is, how do we help to take care? You can't send back the children there here. You know what I mean? Step in.
Yeah,
you had to go.
The caller dropped
yeah,
out.
that's all right.
Yes. From our good friend, she said, Blink, please read. So I'm going to read. Good day to my Prime Minister and to the rest of the comrades. Hope everything is well. Do not worry about them. The truth is now coming out. They already start fighting among themselves, and now they are falling like flies. We will soon get back there by God's grace. This is your comrade, Noreen, from Barbados.
Thank you very much, Noreen. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. Keep the family going.
Yes. That's basically.
All right.
One person had sent a message earlier on as well. They just are there any intelligence on the recent missing plane and the circumstances of the Scottish citizen who died in Kenawan? Do you have any intelligence on that?
I don't have any information. I just want to finish by congratulating all the students on their results for the CSEC examinations, the CXC examinations, and to say to those who didn't do as well as they thought that they should have done, don't fuss up yourself. Just if you have a setback, let's turn that setback into an advance.
Correct.
And I know it's going to be a difficult time for parents getting their children going to college or from college now to go to university. We have to talk about these things and make sure that we can do the best together. All right, and we have to be in solidarity with one another. Yes. All right, God bless.
Yes, and do take care. Here we go with
Girl, you walk through a storm. Hold your head.